It's November 29th, 2024. I am at Joel Pearl, and it's time to get in the weeds. A fabulous Friday. It's the Black Friday for those who are looking for deals. I don't know. I feel like Black Friday is like last week all the way into Christmas time. It's weird. Like it's not just one day. It used to be one day. Now it's just until New Year's Eve. But Jeremy Lambert's here. He is my favorite Black Friday deal. How are you doing?
That I don't know about that.
Well, you're a good, we do this thing together, you and I, for better or worse.
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm well. How are you? How was your? I know you don't have you don't really celebrate Thanksgiving because they do that in October, right?
Yeah, second weekend of October.
Yeah,
we're smart.
How was your holiday otherwise?
So we didn't do. I wouldn't really call it that. So I mean, it's a regular day here in Canada, but we didn't do a TNA post show. There was no ROH post show either. Yeah, I mean, the most newsworthy thing that came out of the ROH was the women's TV title match for Final Battle.
Yeah,
and then the only thing that came out of the TNA talk was they've added a match to next week's episode of Impact, which was already taped a month ago. So why bother? And also,
it's coward. You get for the business, for the love of the game, Joel.
That's true. The love of the game. Listen, if I wanted to sit around and talk about old matches that were already taped throughout the last year, I would have watched TNA last night. But because it has absolutely no bearing on tonight's PLE, that I don't even think we're doing a post show for that either, because the celebration of TNA at WrestleCade is not enough for me to want to sit behind a camera at 11 o'clock at night, when I can tell you the main event is going to be people talking about Roman Reigns and CM Punk and whatever they do tonight on SmackDown. And it's the
They're going to be on. Oh, I thought they were going to be on TNA. That's the main event.
I would love that. That would have been so much better for me.
JBL is going to be on TBA. God, I was talking about eating people last night or yesterday on the show. So
I heard that.
And I can't speak well. Bad at speaking.
I did see that, they posted something about JBL going into the system locker room, and it's like they're just prolonging the story. Just get to the Nick Nemeth turns heel part and get to the Mike Santana saves TNA from Nick Nemeth being a heel part. Like just fast forward to January 19th. Just fast forward to TNA Genesis when it all happens. That's it.
Could we fast forward to like a certain day? That would be great.
I wish.
That would be so good.
So you actually asked me how my day was yesterday. I'll be honest, I did not have a very good day yesterday. I have I guess I should say now I had a very close friend of mine from when I was in high school. She passed away. She had breast cancer and it had moved to her brain. She had it for 4 years. Her name was Marcy. She was an amazingly funny, another rock and roll friend of mine who was also very much into medieval studies and was working on a manuscript and everything. Very talented, very smart woman. And unfortunately, she lost her life last Friday before she even hit 40. And that shit sucks. But I just wanted to send my love to Marcy and her family. I know they're not watching, but I also know that, that maybe some of my random friends happen to stumble across the stuff that I do now. And yesterday I was at the Shiva and I got to see Marcy's family, and just to say thank you for sharing her wonderful life with me while she had it. So send my love to them. And yesterday was a bit heavy because I lost my dad in April, and it sucks to lose somebody, not just in general, but also you add in cancer, and that's a combining factor. So that was yesterday, and it weighed a little bit heavily on me throughout the day. I went to bed at like 9:30. I was just done. I just went to bed and that was it. But we focus on transparency on the show. We're honest, and I'm sorry I don't want to bring the mood down. I promise I don't feel that way today. But you ask, I answer, because that's how we do. So
you don't have to. You can just say.
True. I could just say everything sucks.
Yeah.
No, but we're okay. We're okay today. We live for sharing, as long as we're not oversharing.
Well, I'm sorry for your loss, Joel, and best wishes to Marcy's family.
They say thank you. They don't know it yet, but they say thank you.
Like, here's this dork on the internet talking about wrestling. I don't want his best wishes.
He wants that shit. Oh God. We need a message be like, we saw your show. Who's that other dork sending us regards?
Fair.
I'd be like, oh, let me tell you about Jeremy. Anyway, how was Thanksgiving? How was the day? Did you guys get to do much? Did you have some good food?
We had very good food. The wife cooked up some meals. You know, she puts it all together. She's the rock star of the family. Very thankful for her. You know, I did a 2.5 hour wrestling show yesterday, Joel. So while I was doing all that, she was doing the important stuff of, you know, preparing for Thanksgiving. We keep it kind of low key. You know, we got a lot of family and everything, but everyone kind of does their own thing. So we do our own thing, and you know, we don't really get out of pajamas, which is very nice because I prefer not to host a bunch of people. I prefer not that I dislike anybody in the family or anything, but you know, it's just nice to not have to be around people sometimes. A lot of times, all the time, I prefer to just be to myself. And so, yeah, we just hung out here. We ate good food. We watched some football. We watched Garfield Thanksgiving. We watched a little bit of Harry Potter. Do you know that kid's a wizard?
No, I didn't know this. How did they find out that he's a wizard?
I don't know. I wasn't paying that much attention, but one of the old dudes was talking to him. He's like, "You're a wizard, Harry," and I was like, "Oh, that's interesting."
When does he find out? When does he find out that one of the wizards is his dad?
Well, they killed his parents. I did surmise that much. There's a Dumbledore who I assume is very dumb, and there's a Voldemort who I assume is very Vold, and one of them killed Harry's parents. I don't know which ones. I don't particularly care. Like, it's whatever. But his parents are dead, Joel. Spoiler alert.
Hold on. This sounds a lot like Star Wars. Are you sure you weren't watching Star Wars?
It might have been Star Wars. It might have been
is there a big hairy guy and a guy who's a little
so much hair. Much hair.
Okay. Yeah. This is starting to sound like Star Wars. Are you sure you weren't watching Star Wars?
It might have been Star Wars.
Is there a woman who's a princess, but she doesn't really play off that she's a princess, but she like does have powers of a princess?
No, there were like no females in this show. There were like none.
No, that still feels like Star Wars for most of it.
Maybe Lord of the Rings? It might have been that.
Yep, could have been Lord of the Rings.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds
We
fun.
were watching some movie. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention. Wizards, lords, dumb people. What do you want me to do? But it was good. It was good.
That's good. Well, I'm glad that it was a nice day for y'all with the family hanging out. I know you and Jensen did the spotlight. I know SB3 sat in for some ungodly reason. Bless SB3.
He was in the chat, and I was just like, "Do you want to come on the show?" So I sent him the link, and he came on the show. I was like, "All right, appreciate you, SB3."
It feels weird when I don't have like my 5 minutes with SB3 on the air, because normally we do the crossover on Thursdays, and I was like, "Oh yeah, I didn't talk to SB3 yesterday. He's a great dude." Great dude, that SB3. Appreciate him. We also appreciate. Go ahead.
We all wanted to talk about wrestling instead of hang out with our family.
That's fair. Instead, y'all spent like 2 hours burying AEW. So here comes.
Yeah, we did.
So here comes another 2 hour. No, I'm just kidding. Well, maybe we'll see. But before you decide whether or not you like us, leave a thumbs up on the video and just give us the like. And now that I say that word, there's the little thing on the thumbs up and thumbs down on your YouTube thing. When I say like, it should kind of become rainbowy colored. That's pretty sweet. And the fireworks are eventually going to show up. And there they are for us. That's how we do it here. You can subscribe to the channel here at Fightful Overbooked. Go to FightfulOverbooked.com. Basically just takes you back here and you can press subscribe. If you haven't already, what are you waiting for? And then donate a super chat. Any amount, get your question or statement read on the air. Chi-Town Spurs kicks us right off. I'd like to nominate Matt Eberfluss for worst booker of the year.
Eberflus.
It's Eberfluss in Mike, because he Eberflussed it up yesterday. My God, if you thought Seth Rollins was upset, this is why he's not in War Games.
Seth Rollins hasn't tweeted in 2 weeks, by the way. We did the joke of like, Seth Rollins is like, do you know pain? Do you know misery? Like, I know real pain and misery as a Bears fan. Like, I'm not teaming with you until they get their shit together. He's not tweeted, I hate football in 2 weeks. He is so disgusted by the Bears' performances. Fair enough. He's not tweeted in 2 weeks. I feel bad for this man. I really do.
I looked at the score, and I remember when you and I were talking about this match, the Lions and Bears, and you said it's going to be one of two things. It's either going to be a blowout, or it's going to be the Lions come close but no cigar. Sorry, the Bears come close but no cigar. Oh, we got the latter, which arguably is more painful for Bears fans.
It's way more painful. You'd rather just get blown out. Like, I'm not a Bears fan, but obviously a sports fan. You'd rather just get blown out because you can just chalk it up to, okay, like, bad game. Good. We played a good team, or maybe we just had an off night. Like, look, the Lions are like 10-1 after yesterday. So they're clearly very good. The Bears are 4-7, 4-8 after yesterday. They're not very good. So if you lose the game, you get blown out. It's like, yeah, it was in Detroit as well. So it's like, yeah, bad game. It happens. We clearly suck. You'd much rather lose like that than to have like the hope and the belief that you might win, to be up and blow a big lead, to be right there to winning. Maybe you just need a field goal, or you need a touchdown, or a 2-point conversion, or whatever it might be. To have that belief of like, oh, all we need is just this one thing to go right, and we could win this game. And then it just doesn't go. I could not believe the play calling at the end of the announcers couldn't believe it. Jim Nass and Tony Romo were burying. It was hilarious. But my wife's not a Bears fan. She's a Browns fan, which is just as bad, honestly.
Whoa, I'm so sorry.
but she kind of like, I don't want to say roots for the Bears, but she wants good things for Seth Rollins. Big Seth Rollins fan. So she pays attention to the Bears because she's like, oh, is Seth going to be like happy or sad today? So we're watching this game. And so for those that don't know, the Bears have the ball in the red zone with roughly a minute left. It's second down, I believe. It's second down. And they got the ball, again, roughly a minute left here. And they're down 3. They're down 3. They could easily, very easily, they have one timeout left. Make sure I really set the scene here. They could very easily run the football, get themselves in a nice field goal position, kick the field goal, go into overtime. And a little cowardly to play for overtime on the road, but you're the Bears, right? Like, you're the Bears. You got to take wins and small victories when you can get them. So they could have easily just played for overtime. They instead ran a play that I believe it was going to be a quarterback draw. Smart people have said it was going to be a quarterback draw, which is a dumb play to run in that position. But I believe it was going to be a quarterback draw on second down. Took a sack, loss of 16. Now they're out of field goal range. There's roughly 37 seconds left. They're out of field goal range now. Still one timeout, 37 seconds left. Okay. You can get everybody up. You can run a play. You can throw it in the middle of the field, get the chunk yards back, call your timeout, set up the field goal to kick the field goal on fourth down. They wasted literally 30 seconds to get everybody onto the line, to get everybody up. By the time they snap the ball and throw the ball, they have no time left. And they throw the ball and it's incomplete. And the game's over. They had a timeout remaining. Why they didn't call the timeout, why they didn't get up to the line quicker, why they didn't do a lot of things, I have no idea. And then, of course, which is the best part of sports always, is everybody's blaming everybody else. Matt Eberflus is like, oh, here was the plan. We were supposed to get up there. We were supposed to run a play in the middle of the field, 18 seconds left, call a timeout, and then kick the field goal off of that. Well, once the clock ticked down to like 7 seconds and you haven't gotten the playoff yet, probably should have called a timeout between that 18-second mark and that 7-second mark to try to set up and ensure that you get a halfway decent playoff. Caleb Williams saying it's not his fault because the coach needs to call it. Eberflus basically blaming Williams. Everybody's blaming the offensive line. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious. Ruled. The other games yesterday were the Giants suck and the Cowboys suck. So it was two sucky teams playing terrible football, but the Cowboys won, so that was fine. And then the late game, the Dolphins are frauds. There you go.
Did you know that Canadian football has 3 downs?
Canadian football is weird. I don't understand it. So I don't try to pay attention to it.
Don't pay attention to it. It's awful. Meanwhile, in the NHL tonight, the Sens are off, but
there's a lot of hockey tonight.
There is. The Ducks are playing the Kings, and it is not on any Canadian television, so I'll have to find another way to watch it. Oh, it's also at 3:30 this afternoon, so I can actually watch.
There's some basketball starts at like 12 today, which is awesome.
Let's go.
Hockey starts early. Football's on at like 3. It's a good day to just watch some sports.
And I know the Leafs aren't playing because I didn't get a notification from my app saying that there are $4 teen burgers at A&W today.
Well,
that's how you know.
Yeah.
That's how you know the worst team in the world is playing a game.
They're playing good, I feel like.
The Leafs?
Yeah.
Playing Sens and Ducks is on Sunday. Watch the hell out of that game.
That sounds terrible.
Rematch of the 2007 Stanley Cup Finals. Gary Bettman's worst experience ever. He hated that final. Oh yeah,
Ottawa and Anaheim.
Oh, just awful. Just awful. I had a good time with that though. He made no money. The BWHL also starts on Saturday, the Professional Women's Hockey League. So looking forward to that. The first season was a lot of fun. For those who haven't watched that, they've moved on, they've leveled up. Go check them out. And yeah, it's going to be a good weekend because nobody needs wrestling. You know what I watched this morning, by the way? This is out of left field. So we're
talking about football and nothing for the first 20 minutes.
That's usually what we do because let's face it, what else are we going to talk about? We're going to talk about Dynamite. There are post shows out there. We'll just give our thoughts about that later. And then SmackDown is already taped, but we'll talk about that without giving away spoilers. Survivor Series is on Saturday. That's going to be a fun show. What else are we talk about this Ray Phoenix stuff? What do you want to do? We'll get to it. Anyway, so I'm watching on YouTube because I watch a lot of YouTube. I watch a channel called Drumeo, which is a drummer channel. I'm not a drummer, but I am a rhythm section aficionado. I play bass. Did you know that John Stamos was a drummer? You know who John Stamos is?
He was a guitar player and lead singer, I thought.
Yes, on one of the shows he was that. But did you know that this is Uncle Jesse, for those who don't know, from Family, Full House. Full House. I was thinking Family Channel, and then All in the Family, and anyway, he was Uncle Jesse. Now, apparently, he's been drumming on and off or making appearances with the Beach Boys for like 20 years.
Makes sense. Yeah, I actually kind of knew that because Beach Boys were part of Full House episodes.
That's right. So they were brought on for a few episodes, and that was also in between his experience working with the Beach Boys, and he still does. So anyway, he does this video for Drumeo where he's like, I need to learn a new drum solo. And it was actually captivating stuff. They used like Taylor Hawkins, who most people know from Foo Fighters. He passed away a year ago. And apparently Stamos and Taylor were friends, and they would like send drum licks to each other. Like they just record them on their iPhones and be like, hey, why don't you try this? They would just send this shit together. So he added it to his drum solo, but it was like a tough one. It's a really cool video. Go check it out. But just John Stamos talking about his like career as a drummer in music and on television is like the weirdest. It's not even meta. Like I can't explain it. Sammy Davis Jr. is the reason he started playing drums on television, because Sammy Davis Jr. did like a guest spot on like General Hospital or some shits. And apparently he just invited Stamos up on a whim, and they played drums together. Well, he played piano, Sammy Davis did, and then he played Stamos played drums. It's weird, but you got to go watch it. It was very funny and a very interesting video. But man, John Stamos entertaining me for 30 some odd years.
John Stamos has lived a life. He's not problematic, is he? He's one of the good ones.
I feel like he's one of the good ones. He's not perfect. None of them are, but like he's pretty good dude.
Okay.
I don't remember reading about stuff where he's been like the center of extreme controversy. Everyone has those like, someone did something and you're like, that's stupid. He shouldn't have done that. But he's never done something to the point where it's like, we got to get rid of this dude.
Okay.
I don't think.
I mean, John Stamos to be, problematic here.
Me too. He was great. Yeah, people are saying they haven't heard anything, so I'm gonna say he's a pretty good dude. Oh, he's an Oikos yogurt guy. So are we. Kid loves that stuff. Greek yogurt. Let's go.
I don't like yogurt.
Not the biggest fan, but my kid loves it. He loves banana yogurt.
I do like banana flavored things.
Go on.
No, just like on top of like bananas in general. I'm a fan of the bananas.
Banana cream pie type of person. I am. I like banana.
Oh yeah. Wife did a pumpkin pie yesterday. Delicious.
Yeah. That's the one part about this time of year. If you're, I guess, well, for me, it's October. Going to the store after Thanksgiving, it's like Halloween, and you get like a pumpkin pie for 50% off because people didn't buy the pumpkin pie in great amounts. So I'm like, I'm going to take this. Thank you. I'm eating an entire pumpkin pie in 2 sittings. And that just sounds disgusting. And it is, but it's delicious. Maybe that's why the doctor says I have problems.
Yeah, could be.
Very much could be. Anyway, what should we talk about? Where are we going? Should we talk about the wrestling?
We can, I guess. If I'm on my phone, I'm taking care of business, so apologies.
That's a song by Bachman Turner Overdrive.
Is
Taking
it?
care of business.
Oh,
Every day.
Yeah, I've heard of this song.
Taking care of business every way. Okay. Where do we start? Dynamite was a show that happened on Wednesday. There were moments that were fine. You and I get on the show very often and we talk about, matches versus stories versus what we like and what we don't like. The C2 is an interesting story, but the story's only just begun. So I'm not as invested.
Story never finishes.
That's true, but that's the other guy. That's someone else on another show. He talks about that on Saturday. Instead, the C2 this week begins, and I'm not fully invested yet because it's the first week. They did a pretty good job at the end of the night getting me invested in the Brody King Claudio match. They did a good job with that because it's going to be fun. But other than that, let's just dive right in, talk C2, and we'll kind of expand from there. There was some funny stuff and some not so funny stuff coming out of Dynamite. What do you think? We'll start with the main event.
It was a good match. It was nice that Brody King won. So we talked about this on Wednesday with Darby. Like, he's going to do the C2, and then we don't know if he's going to win the title because he's going to climb Everest afterwards. So it would actually make some sense, as weird as it sounds, for Darby to not go on this big run and do well in the C2. It would make more sense for Darby to kind of falter a little bit, and maybe he doesn't go on to win the title. I hope of many things that I hope come out of this tournament. I hope a sustained singles push for Brody King is one of them. It looked like they were going there last year, and then they just didn't. And then they've mainly when it was with Darby at Wrestle Dream, when he had the great match with Darby, and it looked like, oh, maybe something's going to come out of that. And then he just didn't. He was just doing tag team stuff again. I hope a nice singles run for Brody King is coming out of the C2.
Last year with the C2 run for Darby, sorry, not for Darby, for Brody, it ended up being that this was all in service of Daniel Garcia getting that first big win, right?
Yeah.
Nothing really came from that afterwards for Brody King. I agree with you. It would be nice to see something come from this and not just have Brody be, big guy beating people through the next next few weeks until we get to the World's End pay-per-view. And then he just goes back to being in House of Black. I'd like to see something come out of this for Brody. I'd like to see him be like, I have a newfound confidence in myself. I'm a single star. I can do this. I'm coming after X champion. Let's say it's Takeshita. You can do something with that. But I don't know. Again, because of last year, the way that they worked with Brody, I wouldn't be surprised if they just do it again. Him getting the somewhat shocking victory over Darby Allin is a good start. But I'm curious about the Claudio match. Is it going to be another squash, or is Claudio going to continue to beat people up with a lariat finish, and that's that? What do you feel? How do you feel about the lariat finish for Claudio?
It's fine if it looks good, and as good as Claudio is, I don't know if it didn't look great against Ricochet. So that's the only thing. Like, anything can be a finish. Anything can be a finish. You just gotta protect it enough. That's the other problem is okay, Claudio's going to use this lariat. We're going to see everybody use this lariat in the coming weeks and months. It's obviously not Claudio's lariat, but plenty of people are going to throw clotheslines. Jericho and Ishii were throwing those weak little clotheslines all throughout their match. I know sometimes it was a chop.
Save that for the part where we bury it. Save that for the burial part of the show.
But you gotta. Okay, you can use a clothesline as a finish. You can use a lariat as a finish, but you got to tell everybody else, hey, don't throw this giant like lariat because we got it as a finish for one guy. So that's all it comes down to. I have no problem with it being a finish for Claudio, but now protect it the rest of the show. And Claudio's got to make it look a little bit better.
Would it have been better if Ricochet did the in and out sell on the lariat? Would that have done it for you?
Yeah, probably. Yeah, the sell matters too. That was a fine match. Maybe I was expecting a little bit more, and maybe that's on me. Ricochet, I feel like he needs this C2 as like strong performances, wins and losses or whatever. People are already like, oh, Ricochet lost again. You're gonna lose in a round robin tournament. It just happens. The point of this is like put in good performances and elevate yourself with your performances, because that's what we saw a little bit last year with Daniel Garcia. Now the follow up with Garcia was whatever, because they didn't put the title on him when they probably should have at Revolution. So the wins and losses, and Garcia, the only time he won was the final match against Brody King. Wins and losses or whatever, you need strong performances. I thought Ricochet needs a strong performance in this tournament, and like it got off to a good start, but I think I was hoping for a little bit more based on the fact that he needed a stronger start and the fact that he's facing Claudio, who like on the surface is exactly the kind of opponent Ricochet would need a good match against, or would have a good match against, because Claudio is such a good base, to where it's like, oh yeah, if Ricochet is going to be able to do anything, he'll be able to do it against Claudio. So maybe that's why it was a little disappointing for me. Like, it wasn't bad. Maybe my expectations were, I should never expect anything, but maybe my expectations were a little too high.
I don't know if your expectations were necessarily high. I have this, like, I want to see someone like Ricochet succeed in a place like AEW. I want to see a lot of wrestlers that I like succeed, and he is one of them. One thing that I'm wondering is just how are they building Ricochet? How are they going to differentiate Ricochet in a product, in a company where there are 1,000 Ricochets? Everyone can work. Not everyone, but there are a lot of high flyers. There are a lot of people who can do what Ricochet's been doing, and now they're also compounding this issue by having him lose a bunch of bigger matches. Is this going to turn into a potential heel turn for him? Because if he goes through the C2 and like has a miserable outing, then that's good enough for me that he can then turn heel, be a complete asshole. I want to see basically a Ricochet character come out of this. When he talks, it's not bad. Like he can give a promo as long as he stops saying, I'm out of this world. I'm Ricochet. I'm out of this world. Like I wish a lot of the people who come over from WWE would kind of deprogram that from their brains. The I'm the Miz, I'm awesome type of thing. I want them to get out of that. It works for certain people like Mercedes, where she does the say hello to your CEO. And I'm like, I hate this, but I get it. The Ricochet one doesn't. But anyway, my point being, with Ricochet, he has that potential, but he needs to be more than he's been presented as. And if he's going to lose a bunch, then he's got to change his demeanor and just change his presentation. And that'll be a big strength for him.
We'll see what comes out of it when it comes to Ricochet. I think above everything, he just needs to have really good matches. And this was an okay start, but it's got to be better, because if he just has kind of mediocre to just good matches, but nothing great, nothing spectacular, I don't think a character is really going to matter, unless his character is like, okay, well, now I'm not the guy you fell in love with, and now I just have good matches instead of great matches. Maybe that's the character. Maybe a heel turn will work over that, but he needs to have great matches, because okay to good matches honestly just doesn't cut it in AEW, because so many people can have great matches on a consistent basis. So if you're someone like Ricochet, you got to have much better matches, when that's sort of been your gimmick, is like, oh, great match guy, Ricochet. Because if you're just going to have okay matches, they can just put Kyle Fletcher out there. They can put Will Ospreay out there. They got a laundry list of guys that could go. Commander, they can put him out there. And look, they're not going to push Commander. He's probably going to lose tonight on Rampage. Tomorrow night, Rampage. Like, he needs to have really great matches to stand out in a way. Or, yeah, he does need a character if he's just going to have okay matches. So, we'll see what comes out of the C2 with him. But I think he needs a strong performances.
And this is kind of the reason why I haven't been like, man, Okada's been wasted, is because they turned him into a character. And like, listen, some people don't like the character. I understand that. But it was something he never had to do before when he was in Japan. He never had to be a weekly television character. He just had to have incredible matches and be like, company on my back type of guy. When he came to AEW, he had to be different. He had to be a different kind of entertaining. And for me, it's worked. It's not perfect, but it's different than what he was doing in a world where AEW has tons of excellent wrestlers. Okada is another one, but let's have him stand out a bit. So I'm hoping that they find whatever's going to make Ricochet stand out beyond just being a good wrestler, because there are a lot, and he's another one of them. Speaking of good wrestlers, Shelton Benjamin.
Oh,
go ahead.
You know what should have happened in this match? I know it's no interference, but like after the match was over,
what's that?
Scorpio Sky should have appeared and been like, boys, I know you heard the bald forever and this is bald chance. Let me tell you about the Scorpio system, boys. Remember the hair you used to have, Ricochet? Remember the long flowing locks that you used to have? We can bring those back just for you. All you got to do is get on the Scorpio system. Claudio, I know you're tired of wearing these white shirts, drinking your coffee. Don't you want long flowing hair once again or again? I can't remember actually if you had hair or not, Claudio. I think he's always been kind of like shaved down a little bit.
He did. No, he did a long hair thing in like the 2010s or before WWE.
You guys want to have hair again? You want to stop these bald forever chants? You want to stop these this is bald chants? You want people to pay attention to your wrestling and not your lack of hair? Get on the Scorpio system.
So I'm curious about your thoughts. I've seen a few people make reference to this, and I think it's worth talking about. When fans decide to chant things like bald forever or this is bald, and is it taking away from the match? Is it in service of the match? Is it trying to get the fan base over? Like, what is it to you? Because I'm curious. It's something that I've been thinking about. It's not, they're not saying anything they're not saying anything nice about what they're watching. They're just kind of chanting what's literally happening physically in front of them. And it's not even physically, like physiologically, they're bald. They're bald. I'm just curious. What about your thoughts on that?
I think it's just fans having fun. Like the meat chants, no one was offended by the meat chants. Like, oh, meat. And then they turned into meat madness or whatever. Maybe Tony will create a bald brigade. I don't know. I was trying to,
alliterate
yes. There. Yeah. A bald bout, bald bouts. Yeah, you can do that, right? I don't think it's anything bad. I think the fact that they're at least making noise is probably better than a lot of this show where there was not so much noise. Adam Cole would have killed for some type of chant after he announced that he was in the Dynamite.
That's for the burial part. That's for the burial part. Relax. No, I'm glad I asked, just because like I'm not of the mindset that like, oh, just the fans trying to get themselves over. I think that people are saying in the chat they're just having fun, and they should. That's what it's all about, and it's not a disservice to the wrestlers, because they do still react as the wrestlers get closer to those spots that are supposed to draw the fans in. You can argue the fans should be drawn in for the entirety of the match, but that's not really what it is. I wanted to get your thoughts because I've seen a little bit of discourse, and it was kind of like, I think there's merit to both sides, but at the end of the day, like these people have already paid money to have fun. And whatever their fun is just what it is, as long as it doesn't like end up with anyone getting hurt. Maybe just their feelings, because I don't know if they like being bald.
They're chanting for bald wrestlers. It's fine. They should just have a group of bald wrestlers all on the Scorpio system.
CT should be the Gold League and the Bald League. Speaking of the Bald League, Shelton Benjamin and Mark Briscoe face off. Shelton Benjamin gets his first win of the tournament. Mark Briscoe is a big old loser in this one, the conglomerate doot. It was fine match. Shelton Benjamin is a beast.
Yeah, Shelton rules. And Mark Briscoe is very good. It was another all these matches were fine. Like there was no blowaway match. Darby and Brody King was the best of the bunch to me. But all the matches were all like good. Just good. We're the best wrestle. Maybe I expect great.
we're the best wrestle good.
Yeah.
But like I said at the top, it's the beginning of the C2, so I'm not expecting to see a lot of stories immediately. It was really what came out of the main event, where you've at least set up, it's going to be Brody King and Claudio next week. So at least you get excited for that. It's got a little bit of a stake to it beyond just being a C2 match.
And it's Brody kind of protecting Darby and looking over Darby, where he was not going to let Claudio get in there and beat him up further. He's like, no, I did this. Now you stay away. Next week we're gonna battle. But he was protecting Darby a little bit, which was good. I hope it goes somewhere. I hope there's some sort of follow up. And again, I hope there's a actual sustained singles push for Brody King out of this.
You see this little boy? I beat up this little boy, not you. I beat him up. Only I get to beat up this little boy. Okay,
that doesn't sound good.
It sounds like something he would say.
That doesn't sound good at all.
Well, what else sounds good? Kamille quits, Jeremy.
This ruled. This is hilarious.
This is so... I saw it happening. Like, they do the whole like, you can't fire me, I quit. And I'm like, no, she fired your ass. You were useless.
I don't know why Mercedes was upset. Why was she like upset that Kamille quit? One, she was about to fire her. Two, she was right. Kamille was useless. There was no point to Kamille. People try to defend this to me.
Really? Wait, hold on. The only defense I can hear is people being like, what you and I talked about. I was going to be Kamille versus Mercedes and the redemption of Kamille. Oh, that was okay. Fine.
No.
It's still silly, but okay.
The defense. So I tweeted, I was like, well, that partnership accomplished nothing, but we got this, so it's a win.
Are you stupid or are you dumb?
And people were like, well, what was it supposed to accomplish? Well, I don't know. If you pair two people up and make somebody as a bodyguard, I would hope it would accomplish something, like you don't just want to, hey, let's waste TV time on this Kamille and Mercedes relationship. How has Sean been defending it, Henry? Like, legit question. I'm not trying to bury Sean here, but like, I want to know what he has been saying to try to defend this, because I genuinely don't get it. So it accomplishes they have a match. They could have had a match in a different way. That's what people are trying. That's how I've seen people try to defend. It's like, oh, we're going to get Mercedes and Kamille out of this. Cool. You could have gotten Mercedes and Kamille out of that, like, in a different way. You didn't have to make Kamille look incompetent the entire way. I have no interest in a Kamille match out of this. If you do, more power to you. I got none. Why do I have none? Because all she's done is beat up a bunch of low-tier wrestlers that I couldn't possibly care about, who have never been seen again. And the one big match she had was against Chris Statlander. What happened in that match? She lost. What happened when Mercedes faced Chris Statlander? She beat her. She beat her without the help of Kamille. So why am I interested in a Kamille against Mercedes match? They have one common opponent. Mercedes won clean. She used biting, but whatever. We all like to bite a little bit.
Yeah, it gets people over in your match or your personal endeavors.
So why should I have interest in this? There was no sympathy on Kamille. I think that was the point, is, oh, you're supposed to feel bad for Kamille because Mercedes is talking down to her. Well, Kamille shouldn't have screwed up so often, and maybe she wouldn't get talked down to. I think Mercedes, as a CEO, when your employee sucks, sometimes you got to dress them down and tell them that they suck. Mercedes is just doing her job as the CEO. Maybe Kamille should not be so useless. Maybe she should do her job properly and help properly, and then she wouldn't get talked down to like that. So I didn't feel bad for Kamille. She sucked at her job. She should have been fired sooner.
Now, I'm seeing Senior Nerd in the chat saying this. Apparently, this won't lead to a match between Mercedes and Kamille.
Good.
If that's the case, that's a failure on all parts, because even just doing the match at like Winter is Coming, just get it out of the way. I'm not saying make it a pay-per-view match, like just some sort of blow off. It does something, because otherwise you just make Kamille look like a bigger loser than everything Jeremy just said, which is true. I don't like the idea of just firing her and then what? You already had her sit at home under contract for 4 or 5 months. Like what does this accomplish just to bring her back bring her on for what was 3 months? It just it doesn't really work if you just have her leave from here. I don't care when you do it. It just, there should be a match. Someone is okay, so they're saying it's according to Alvarez, but again, sometimes it happens, sometimes it doesn't. But I would just do the match, do it on TV, do it on Collision. I don't care. Do it somewhere. I still have this whole feeling that she's gonna have Kamille win the match, but that's just me.
There's no way.
I don't think they should, but I have this feeling that it's just going to culminate with Kamille winning. And there's another side of it. Like people keep bringing up the Renegade Twins. Is like, is this going to be the debut of at least one of them when they start doing whatever they're doing next with Mercedes? And at least now you've cleared the way that Mercedes can have new heaters. And if it's the twins, then like, cool, that's great. But I don't know if that's in the cards or planning or just people fantasy booking, which everything's just fantasy booking for now. It's inevitable to me that you see a Kamille match versus Mercedes. Don't know how good it would be, but it should happen, or at least something. Do it on Rampage. I don't care. Look, just something.
I think SP3 said it yesterday. Kamille came in and Mercedes had not so great matches, at least not Mercedes standard level matches, against Sheeta of all people and Britt Baker. Kamille wasn't there for Stephanie Vaquer and Chris Statlander. Those matches were great. Kamille was bad at her job. She deserved to be fired. She got fired or she quit, whatever. I'll be happy if we don't hear from Kamille for a while.
Will Chisholm sent a super chat saying they should put her in Ring of Honor.
That's fine.
You could.
Well, there's a spot for Kamille. I'm being a little facetious of like, we don't have to hear from her for a while. There's a spot for her as a stronger wrestler. Like, she's got a good look. She's a good wrestler. We haven't seen her in a longer type match in a while. But when she's in NWA, the two standouts are obviously the Thunder Rosa match, which was good. And a lot of that was Thunder Rosa. But Camille's like fine. And the Layla Hirsch match was also good. Like, Kamille can have like fine matches, and she's got a look that's a little unique to the division. There's a spot for her. It's a matter of like, how are you going to make her look? This made her look very weak throughout. The entire story made her look weak. You got to do some rehabbing on this.
You do. And this is why maybe her doing some work in Ring of Honor might be the play. Have her come in after Athena moves on, assuming Athena moves on after Final Battle, and just let Kamille be, one of the faces of Ring of Honor. She was the face of NWA for a period of time. She had that title for a long time. Sean had kind of put her over and said, he watched a lot of her NWA Women's World Championship time. Just let her show up.
She improved from.
She did, but you can only improve so much. Yeah, you can only improve so much with the caliber of talent you're working with. And when you're working with the NWA talent, not everyone is great, but not everyone is awful. There is a ceiling. And she came to AEW to improve and move and bust through that ceiling. It's just she hasn't proven that yet. I don't know if you want to have her work a match against Mercedes right away I don't know what you prove at that point, because if the match is bad, then nobody looks good coming out of it. But if the match is great, then Kamille just proved us wrong and they had a good match, and Mercedes continues to have a good string of matches. There has to be something for Kamille to do. Go to Ring of Honor.
Does there have to be something?
Will Chisholm also sent a super chat, said, I never thought Lash Legend would be outshining Kamille in 2024.
Lash Legend's getting reps, man.
She is. That's the other side of it. Lash Legend is not only in the ring on TV, but she's also in the ring at work. She has a performance center to work out of. She's on the road these days. She has been involved with WWE programming on multiple levels. Like, she deserves the attention that she's been getting and the opportunities she's been getting. Kamille hasn't been working. She's been in the sling, which I assume is continue. I'm assuming that's all storyline based.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she's not actually, injured.
Kamille's wrestled like 10 matches this year. Year's almost over. Maybe I'm underselling it a little bit, but there's no way she's wrestled more than 15 matches. I'm going to look this up, but there's no way she's wrestled more than 15 matches. It can't be possible.
I think once she left the NWA at the beginning of 2024, that was it.
So I was actually correct. 10 matches.
Yeah. I was going to say, like, she hadn't worked any matches from the time she left NWA until she got to AEW.
10 matches. Her longest have been, she apparently had a match against Carolina Cruz at CCW. That was 9 minutes and 20 seconds. That's her longest match. The Queen Aminata match was 8 minutes. The Statlander match was 6 minutes. Everything else has just been like short little squash matches. He hasn't been in there for more than 10 minutes. She's probably 10 matches. She's 100% had less than an hour ring time, considering no matches have been under over 10 minutes. Like one match was like 19 seconds. One match was a minute something. Maybe these two matches that don't have any time listed, maybe they were a little bit longer, but one of those is a tag team match. Another was a 3-way match. She's had to have, if she hasn't had under an hour, she's had barely an hour of ring time the entire year. Less than an hour of ring time the entire year. Maybe she's working some independent dates that aren't showing up here. Maybe I assume she's working like on her off time and everything. But yeah, it's tough to get better and improve when you're not on television or you're not working consistently, especially if you're someone who is already at a certain level. If you're at a high level and you don't wrestle as much, like, all right, you could probably maybe a little bit like riding a bike. But if you're, this is not on Kamille, I'm just throwing out a random number. If you're at like a 4 and you're not working more, it's tough to increase from that 4.
We forgot one thing when we were praising Dynamite. Swerve beat the shit out of Max Caster.
Yeah, that did rule.
Did rule. Yeah. I wanted to remind us that was also a high point on the show. Oh man. But yeah, going back to Kamille, I don't think she had worked other than that CCW match. I don't think she had worked anywhere during her time off.
No, she did. She worked a few. She didn't wrestle at all from January to June. And then in June, she took a couple of independent dates. And then she's taken a couple independent dates, even when she's been under contract, even after she's debuted in AEW.
I wonder if they were encouraged to do that. I wonder if she was encouraged to do that stuff. But strange. On the other side of the women's division, actually something we can praise is the Mina Shirakawa interview that turned into another beatdown from Mariah May. This was fun. They're now going to do the match at Winter is Coming. I was a little bit surprised, just given the fact that we've talked about how we would have played it out, but instead, I guess they want to build Winter is Coming to be a bigger show. And Mina and Mariah is on the way.
Mina has Stardom dates at the end of December, I believe, as well, which is why this is kind of speculatory, but like, I'm pretty sure she's been announced for some Stardom events at the end of December. And that's why maybe they couldn't do it or didn't want to do it at World's End and instead did it at Winter is Coming. Winter is Coming is always a big show, as Henry mentions. Like, that's one of their bigger Dynamite specials. They do a lot of Dynamite specials, but that's up there. It's not on the Grand Slam. What?
Kenny won the title at Winter is Coming a few years ago.
Yeah, Sting debuted at Winter is Coming.
That's
same
right.
show, actually. Yeah. But Grand Slam, and then it feels like Winter is Coming is like the second tier below Grand Slam.
So it'll be a big match. It'll be a big match feel, hopefully. But yeah, this is, again, I like that this is building. I like that this bottle is now becoming almost the crux of the story. And that's how it started, though. Remember, when Mina came around, the first appearance that she had with Mariah, she was bringing out the champagne. She brought out the champagne flutes. So, like, it makes sense that they're basing it around the champagne wishes and caviar dreams. Oh, Shaki. Sorry. I'm not Booker T. But instead, this is fun. And you know what? These two women are not afraid to get crazy and do some silly ass shit with each other. So I'm looking forward to this match. I wonder if they give no DQ this stipulation to it. I know they just did that with Anna Jay. So someone's saying bottle on a pole match.
This is gonna be where Toni Storm comes back. She's gonna come back as a White Walker.
That's right. Every year, someone always does this. It's always some stupid Game of Thrones shit.
Yeah.
Oh God, I know it's based on the name of the show, but anyway, yeah. I just I don't know if does that mean Toni Storm's coming back at Winter is Coming? Is that now the prevailing argument or expectation?
I still think it might be World's End, just because I don't know if Mariah is gonna have a match on World's End if she's having a match at Winter is Coming, unless you do like a Challenger of the Week type thing, because otherwise you're gonna have to build a challenger in 2 weeks to face Mariah. So I don't know if she's gonna have a match. So it might just be a segment, and then here comes Toni Storm at World's End.
This is why I think about, you have 2 women's titles in AEW. Mercedes doesn't seem to have a feud right now, unless it is going to be Kamille, and Mariah is booked for Winter is Coming, but we don't know what she's going to do, if anything, at World's End. It's how do we utilize these 2 champions at that pay-per-view? Who does Mercedes get, and do they do maybe a fatal 4-way? How do they get the next challengers? I'm curious about that.
Kamille would make sense from just a storyline perspective, whether people want it or not. Like, it makes sense from a storyline perspective. I don't know how you. I mean, I know how you heat up Kamille for that match. You just give her some wins, but I just don't know if the interest is there coming off of this. I don't. You gotta do
make it interesting.
The way they're gonna make it interesting is Kamille just beats up a bunch of people in short order, but like, you got to give her victories over some like actually established people. You can't just have her beat up enhancement talent for weeks and be like, Mercedes, I want to face you. Like, that doesn't do anything.
What name did you want to use? Come on.
What?
You had names in mind that you wanted to toss out.
Oh, I legitimately didn't.
Oh, I thought you were just
no. Like, you got to beat like actual like talented people. Like,
yes.
People are gonna be mad at this, but legitimately, I'd have her beat someone, like an Anna Jay or a Willow Nightingale. Like, if you actually want to like heat her up. Well, I know Willow's in the tournament right now, so you're not gonna do that. But yeah, you got to have her beat. Taya Valkyrie that's not a name to me. No offense to Taya. And I say this, and I know people will take no offense to this because we love Deanna. Deanna's not a name right now. She just lost to Anna Jay on pay-per-view. When has she really won? Like Thunder Rosa, that's somebody who's actually won some matches. Willow Nightingale, I know she's kind of lost a little bit, but she's going to most likely win in her first round match against Queen Aminata. So Willow Nightingale's at least a little bit of a name. And Britt's a name. She at least won her last match. Like, you got to beat people who've actually won some matches. If you just beat people who also lose, that's not a great victory. Like, Harley Cameron is like fine, but Harley Cameron loses all her big matches too. So beating Harley Cameron doesn't exactly sell me on, oh, this is a viable challenger.
Yeah, no, I agree. You have to have women lined up for Kamille if you're going to build her that are established. And yeah, no offense to Deanna. Deanna's number 1 in her tag team, and she's not number 1 on anyone's depth chart right now. That's just the way it is. Harley is fun. Harley is something that you do as like we're trying to showcase that Kamille has some sort of a side that you want to like a bright side, or like a what's the word I'm trying to think of? Just that she's personable. You want to make her relatable. You want to have something that you root for because she's a baby face and she's not just the brick house, with a southern accent about kicking ass and I quit. I'm out fired. I'm quit. But anyway, you have Harley come in and do something that gets Kamille over as a character. You can do that once, but then you do have to set up other women who are established to make someone like Kamille matter. And you only have a month to do it. So it's not only a month, because I guess you've got Collision and you have Dynamite to do it. So I'm wondering what they're going to do with it. It's just
Deanna hasn't won since July.
Yep.
She hasn't wrestled a lot, but like, she hasn't won since July. So yeah, beating Deanna Purrazzo, as much as we like Deanna Purrazzo, every time AEW fans have seen her, all she's been doing is vignettes or losing. She hasn't won. So beating Deonna just doesn't mean a whole lot at this point. Sheeta's a name that I know Sheeta just kind of lost her last match, but at least she has former champion credentials, and they put her on Rampage often enough to give her victories that, all right, maybe it seems a little bit bigger of a victory. Like Sheeta could be a name that she could beat, but I don't know. I just don't know if they're actually doing this.
You also keep beating her. But sorry, going back to Deonna, by the way, those vignettes were pitched by her and produced by her. Like they were done in her home. Like she's not for a lack of build. I can tell you this, for sure. Deonna is not sitting at home saying I can't work. She is very ready to work. People are mentioning Sheeta, Riho when she's back to being healthy. Nyla Rose is another one that Nyla is that person that you always can go back to because she's a former women's champion. She is a big powerful person that you can beat and have a big power move set against. And I like that you can do that. So like Nyla is the second person that you beat. And just to establish like Kamille's powerful. That's how you establish Brick House. Harley's establishing character. And then whoever, like Sheeta becomes, it's Sheeta. She's a former everything super duper champion, whatever. There's room for it. You got to book it in a way that makes sense.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of things, again, everything is in service of bringing back Toni Storm, and we don't know when that's going to be. And I assume to build this all for the match in Australia and not sooner. But maybe they do want to do it on pay-per-view. Maybe they do want to do it at World's End because the Australia show is a huge moment for Toni to come back. But viewership-wise, like live, it's going to be at an awkward hour. I don't know if it's going to be that big of a show. And I don't mean that as importance. I mean that as viewership, live viewership. It's not going to be the same as one of their pay-per-views, regardless of where it's being shown. If it's on Max, if it's free, whatever it is, the time zone difference will make it a little bit more difficult for some people to watch it live. So I'm curious as to whether or not that's one of the reasons they do or don't go with Toni Storm and Mariah May at Grand Slam Australia.
No, I think that match happened at Grand Slam Australia. I don't think it matters when it's gonna.
I still want to see it. Will Chisholm sent a super chat saying, wasn't there a report that Deonna was going to have her own group, but that was almost 3 months ago? WTF. Taya was the group. I don't know if they ever wanted to expand on that or not.
They've done the, hey, join us. Like that was the precipice, or I don't know if precipice is their word, but that was the basis of the Anna Jay match at Full Gear. Is Anna Jay turned down the offer from the Vengeance, and so now they're gonna have a match. That was a blink and you missed it type of turn down offer. But yeah, they haven't really done anything. There's no real reason to care about Deonna and Taya Valkyrie. No knock on them. They just, television wise, why should I care about what's going on with them? They do vignettes. What?
Go ahead. Finish your deal.
Okay. They do vignettes. They don't wrestle. When they do wrestle, they lose. Why should I care?
Okay. So here's how we fix it.
Nobody cares.
MVP. That's true. Thank you, Serena. By the way, Willow gets Serena, not you said Queen Aminata. That's a different match.
Oh, my bad.
That's okay. It's okay.
I knew Queen Aminata was it. She's in this thing, right?
She already lost.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking
of. We'll get there. You know how you fix the Deonna stuff? So you got the Hurt Syndicate, you got MVP giving out the business cards. You got to have Deonna Purrazzo giving out Gabagool, and it's got her name and her number on it, and it just says, if you want to join us, take my number and enjoy the food. That's it.
Fine with this. I'm all for it. Sure.
It works. Listen, Sean didn't ask Steve Macklin about the Gabagool, so I'm very upset about that.
Cowardly.
It's very cowardly. And they had a great conversation. Go check out the interview with Macklin. One of the few interviews where I wasn't involved with Steve Macklin, but it was a very good one that Sean did. You know what? Deonna joins the Dark Order. I think Henry got it. Deonna becomes the leader of Dark Order. I think that would be perfect. Oh my goodness. All right, what else from Dynamite is worth bringing up? I mean, the main thing that was the AEW World Championship.
Yeah, this is what you put in this
I
thumbnail, so we
did.
gotta talk about it.
I did. Heyman Adam Page comes out and he basically says, "Yeah, no, I cut a deal with Christian. That's what I did. Totally, that's what I did. Yeah, that's what I did."
Yeah, we
So
saw that though.
yeah,
We
yeah,
saw that.
yeah. You just didn't see it happen before and then afterwards. It's a very weird way of them trying to kind of cut this together, especially because Hangman came out first on Saturday. Anyway, and then this all comes in service of Switchblade stepping up and being like, no, I'm the guy, I'm your Huckleberry, and Moxley just puts down everyone and then beats up Wheeler Yuta, and here we are. Is this a triple threat? Do we include Christian Cage? Is this a four-way? What's going on? We're getting into World's End.
If I'm Christian, I have no reason to insert myself into this. Like, why am I gonna? I guess it's another shot. As long as I don't have to cash in my contract, then sure, put me in the match. So give me a shot at it. I like Hangman's mission statement. I like Hangman saying, "My focus is the world title. This is what I'm going after. So now this is my goal right now." I thought that was great. Everything after that, I don't know. Like, Hangman just lost 2 big matches to Jay White. So Jay White coming out was good, was reasonable. And then Jay White saying, like, "I'll beat you again." Why is Jay White this point? Like, Jay White should just tell Hangman to kick rocks. Like, dude, go away. I've beaten you twice. Get out of here. Knock it off. Go burn somebody else's house down. Go, just get out of here.
He might go to Florida and find Jay White's house now. He's gonna go sit on the veranda and just be like, "Oh, remember when Darby Allin's skeleton came crashing down your swimming pool? Oh, just blow shit up."
That's and they did the big beatdown angle, which was like fine, but was Juice? I understand that theoretically Juice wasn't there because was that mentioned on commentary, by the way, of like, where's Juice Robinson? Because he was there. We know he was in the building because Collision was taped the same night and he had a match on Collision. So we know he was technically in the building, but there could be an explanation of, well, he wasn't at Dynamite because Dynamite and Collision air on separate days. And if you want to keep protecting in that way, fine. But like, was there an explanation as to where Juice was? Is there an explanation to the guns? Hangman at least said like he injured one of them, but then the other one jumped him that same night. So are they not there? My bigger issue was less where was Juice and where was the guns, even though that's a pretty big issue when that's like Jay White's group and hey, where are they? Darby Allin opens this show. He's like, "John Moxley, I'm going to murder you. I'm going to kill you. You're not going to be able to destroy AEW because you're going to be dead." That's word for word what Darby Allin said. Close to it anyway.
The gun situation, I know Sean's gonna have an update. People have been asking on the Discord. Sean's hoping to have an update this weekend. I'm not saying he definitely will, but he is hoping that he will have an update on the gun soon, whatever that is. The thing with Jay White is, or sorry, not with Jay, with Juice. Yeah, it's curious that he wasn't there, that they haven't explained where he could have been or where he should have been. If he's saying that getting ready for the C2 was more important, maybe he didn't know that Jay was going to come out. I don't know. It was very strange.
Okay, here's let me go back to my point. Darby Allin opens the show. He says, "John Moxley, I'm going to kill you." And then John Moxley's in the ring, beating up Jay White, beating up Hangman Page. I guess he really didn't beat up Hangman Page, but beating up Jay White. John Moxley's right there in the ring. Darby Allin wasn't coming out there with a knife. Darby Allin wasn't coming out there with a flamethrower.
Did he say he was going to kill him? Like those were the words? Did he say he was going to incapacitate? Like, did he say kill?
Yes, he said, "You're going to be dead."
I hate that. I don't like any wrestling trope that does the whole "I'm going to kill you" thing, because I go back to this is the old man in me. Wade did an interview with Scott Hall years ago, and Wade brings this up at every opportunity, but I know this one off by heart. And Scott Hall used to rip on people, being like, "You cannot say I'm going to kill you in a promo, because in wrestling, you're supposed to finish off the thing you say you're going to do." Well, guess the one thing you're not going to do is kill someone in the ring. So why do you go out there and say, and it's not a turn of phrase at this point. Like, wrestling at this point is not supposed to be about, I'm going to kill you. It's about, I am going to incapacitate, whatever. There are other ways to put it. But when you say stuff like, "I'm going to kill you," that shit doesn't work. And sorry, I go back to that. And I think he was absolutely right about that. Scott Hall was. And this was like 10 years ago he was saying this.
Well, Scott Hall might have been right about this, but Darby Allin said, I'll re-listen to this promo and what he said. Hold on.
Sure. I went looking
John,
for
you're not taking AEW. It's going to be really hard to kill this place when you die first. He is threatening to murder him.
That does sound like attempted murder, but he's also not saying he's going to be the one who kills him.
He probably shouldn't say it at all. Then, if
I agree.
He tried to run him over at the end of the show, but he's threatening to kill him, and then he was nowhere to be found out of all of this.
Big Man Dogs is right. Baby faces need to keep their promises. That is what a baby face does. And Darby, again, we talk about this. Darby is one of the only white meat baby faces in the company right now. His moral compass continues to point to good at all costs. And that's why you can't do that. I'm going to kill you or you're going to die mentality.
Well, I don't know why Darby didn't come out during all of this. That's where it's just like, well, you kind of lost me because I know Darby's there. I know Darby is there. The juice thing, again, you can kind of explain, well, he's got a match on Saturday. He wasn't there, even though it's taped on the same day or it's taped at the same show. So he wasn't there. Fine. At least say that because I don't think they gave any explanation. If they did, it was very quick and I missed it. I apologize. Darby, we know, was there because he had a match in the main event. So we know he was in the building. Why didn't he come out? You can't tell me. Oh, he was preparing for the C2. It's more important. That undermines this whole angle then. It undermines Jon Moxley taking over and Darby Allin trying to run him over at the end of the show and saying it's going to be hard to kill AEW when you're dead. Like, well, but first let me prepare for the singles match in the C2 to win this Continental Championship against Brody King. That's a little bit more important than me threatening to kill you and winning the AEW World Title. Having this one match against Brody King is a little bit more important than that. Just pause that for a second.
So where does Moxley fit in to Jay White's and Christian and Hangman, those three having some sort of issue, and then Mox just happens to be champion? None of them are against the idea of what Moxley's doing in story. You know, they're not really saying we disagree with you, Mox. They're saying you hold the title I want. Is that in service of Moxley's story, or is that against the general feeling of what Moxley's vision of this new AEW is?
Well, Hangman wants the title. So yes, Hangman at least wants the title. Jay White seems to want the title as well, and he's beaten Hangman. And they want the title. I don't know if the Jon Moxley's vision thing has gotten a little bit lost because his vision is, well, AEW sucks, and I'm here to fix it. They want the title. I think
a lot of people have said that over the years.
Yeah, I talked about that yesterday. I was like, I don't think it's a good storyline that AEW sucks. And, you know, hey, the stuff you've been watching has been awful, but now it's going to be good. Just trust us. We're going to fix this. I don't think it's a good storyline, but that's what they've chosen to go with. But they want the title. Where do they fit? Is Jon Moxley the champion? I don't know if they do fit in. We want to stop Jon Moxley from destroying AEW. I don't think they care about that, which again undermines kind of what's been happening, because that's been Moxley's whole thing is we're at war. We're going to do a takeover. It's just like, well, we want the title. The title represents the power. So we're going to go after Jon Moxley because he has it. Allegedly. That's what's allegedly in the briefcase.
That's what's really funny is what you're just saying is the power is the title, and the title is synonymous of being the top of the game in AEW, where you have, yes, Hangman comes out, says, I want the title. Jay White comes out, says, I want the title. Christian has the contract to get a shot at the title. And then you got the Hurt Syndicate coming out, and they're saying, we want the titles because the titles are power, and then we get leverage to get more money. And I think that is fantastic stuff. That's why I'm wondering, like, Moxley, where does he fit in beyond being the world champion to a story where everyone wants the title because the title is prestige and the title is no longer about reshaping AEW in their vision. It's about being the champion and having all the leverage and all the money. It's a curious story, but now we have a guest because of course it's Thanksgiving and it's Friday. So we welcome, as always, from a billion different places. We'll see where he's going to talk about from this way. Cam Hawkins joins us this morning. Hello.
Hi, guys.
How you
Happy
doing?
belated Thanksgiving. Happy Black Friday. Happy Texas A&M weekend. We celebrate so many. Happy Survivor Series Eve. We celebrate so many things this particular week. I don't want anything or have anything to push, really. I just wanted to say hi to my friends. So, yeah.
Do you think AEW sucks? Because apparently that everyone else does.
You know,
on the television show.
Yeah. I don't really like that meta thing that wrestling does sometimes where I'm going to fix what's broken. Like, stop telling me the thing is broken. Just do the things that are right and you're good. I feel like Moxley's whole MO was like everybody needs to be tougher people. But like AEW, from its inception wasn't necessarily about who's the toughest. It was about who's the best wrestler. And they showcased super athletic guys and super technical guys. And I don't know. I think that it's too meta. Just do the good stuff. Just do the stuff that's good and everything else takes care of itself. So, yeah.
You look happy. You feeling good?
Yeah. Well, I'm literally
with trolls. So like you look happy now.
I'm fresh off a workout. I literally just walked in from the gym. I had a good time yesterday. Maybe it's like that exercise high. I feel good. I do feel good. Trolls. It's just so fun that the thing still happens where, you can't criticize Tony Khan, and you're not even criticize. You can't point out that the guy did a wrong thing years ago, because then you are WWE PR machine man, who of course has a problem with our Lord and Savior Tony Khan. And on the flip side, everything WWE does has to be gospel. It's all a mess. Hey, you know what I do want to talk about?
Yes.
So, I don't know if it really came across, but I was there for Rick and Chris Van Vliet when they did the show. So, I took a half day at the regular job. Rick hit my line and was like, "Hey, I'm going to do Chris's show. Chris is in town. We're going to go to the studio. Can you just can you be here and make sure I don't say anything insane?" So you shouldn't wait. Let me let the little one out.
I
love that we're basically discovering that Cam is the PR representative for Ricky Starks.
I didn't know he was doing PR for Ricky, but
I don't think so. I'm just busting balls.
Oh, all the dogs want to go outside. I don't know if you heard that. Draco.
When you said you were working on something with him, I assume this was it. This interview. Yeah.
Go, guys. Everybody go outside. Okay.
It's like herding cats, but it's dogs.
Yeah, it's like 7 dogs. Yeah. So he hit my line. He was like, "Hey, so come with me and just make sure I don't, do the thing I might do every once in a while." But no, work. I really do. He's very good at what he does. It's one of those things where I really did not watch a lot of his stuff until we kind of met and got to know each other. I was like, who is this like insanely popular YouTube person who's doing all this stuff? And then I watched him and Rick talk, and I'm like, oh, he's very good at this. This is great. It was at the same studio that Undertaker records at. Fun story. The last time they were there, somebody left a big bottle of Jack. And so if you look at my IG story that day, or even on Twitter, you see me like just with a big bottle of Jack Daniels, because I was like, hey, can I have that? And they were like, yeah. So like me, Chris, and Rick go to dinner at this really cool like little Vietnamese restaurant, which was right by the studio, and it's a BYOB restaurant. So I walk in and I'm like, hey, am I okay with this? And they were like, yeah, have a ball. So yeah, just sat outside, drank Jack, and talk shop with the guys. It was very, very fun. So yeah.
I didn't think Ricky said anything in this interview that was like, oh, he needs to be in trouble for this. Like I'll peel back the curtain a little bit. I told him, I was like, of all the Thanksgiving week interviews in wrestling history, this one was on the tamer side. And so
did I have you and I talked since then, Jeremy?
I don't think so. No.
Literally while we're leaving, and about to go to dinner, he talks about how, he like every other wrestler, I hate when I say a thing and it gets misconstrued and taken out of context. He was like, but Jeremy Lambert does a very good job of transcribing exactly what I say so that nothing's confused. This is him telling Chris. I was like, oh, I know Jeremy. That's my guy. How great. It was.
I assume he was just going to bury me because
it was so nice. It was just like, I know Jeremy. And it was unsolicited. He just was talking about who does the job the right way. It was very nice. So yeah.
I appreciate Ricky. I told this on Wednesday, but Ricky and I have a long history of I wanted to interview him when he was in NWA. NWA was like, hey, who do you want to talk to? I was like, Ricky Starks. He seems very good. I didn't really know much about him until I saw him in NWA, but I was like, this guy, he gets it. He's good. I can see a big future for him. So I want to talk to Ricky. And ever since then, we did an hour-long interview. And ever since then, we've just kind of had some contact. But he's always been very kind to me. He's put me over to you. He's put me over to Shaquille Majuri, Shaq of CBS Sports. So he's been very kind to me, except when I saw him in person and I was with my wife and he's like, you're married to him? And she's like, yes. And he's like, good luck. And so I was like, thanks, Ricky. Appreciate you.
Very authentically Ricky Starks. Yes.
Yes.
Yeah, man. But it was really fun. Just being a fly on the wall for stuff like that. And, his, watching him, and he always has that fire, but watching him really work over the last few weeks, up close. And then, coming down the escalator at GCW, it was, he's, sometimes you have to remind your friends that they're very good at what they do. And so I love seeing him kind of work with his full confidence right now. It's very fun to see. So
I hope he's on television in some capacity sooner rather than later.
Yeah. He's I don't have a problem with anybody who's in charge of things. And I think sometimes when you're friends with talent, you can kind of take some things really, really personally. But I just always make a point to remove myself and remember, these people are not your friends. They're people in charge of businesses. They will make decisions that are great. They will make decisions you think that aren't so great, but you really can't take it personal because, the day goes on. You got more work to do. I don't know exactly. I always say I have nothing to push and then I push something, right? I'm working on a thing. I don't know if it's going to be a written piece or if we're just going to do the interview straight up. But Lee Moriarty has an art installation coming up in Miami that he's a part of next week, working with Orange Crush from Jersey Championship Wrestling and GCW. So Lee's got some really cool art pieces he's been working on. We had a half-hour conversation about him getting into art, balancing that with the wrestling, where his inspiration comes from. It was very, very fun. So yeah, man, there's so many different talents and so many different avenues that they go. What I've been doing with Uncrowned, I got to talk, Chucky with Liv and really find out that Bobby Lashley is one of the most enthusiastic wrestlers I've ever met in life. He loves this shit. And I was surprised that he loves this shit. And that's unfair, right? Because he has a certain demeanor about him. He's kind of low key. He loves this shit and is excited about wrestling and wrestling at AEW and the things he wants to do and what he wants to do with the next generation of wrestlers. Man, there's way too many different avenues and different talents to ever personally have a strong Tony Khan opinion or a strong Triple H opinion or anybody else. It's about the talent. Yeah.
Speaking of the talent, give me real quick. December 9th, the very best wrestlers of the year 2024.
Yeah.
Can you give a little bit of insight into that? It's coming out soon.
Yeah, man. So it was going to be.
I do it and he freezes. This is exactly what.
Yeah, look at this.
Oh, there we go. You froze for a sec.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm sorry. Excited about it. Of course, I got Lauren Moran on the artwork. if you follow me on the socials, you've seen the early stuff. Willow and Tony and Roxanne, I thought she did a great job. I got, man, the writers I have on there, 6 brand new writers. I have who, of course, our wrestling nephew, Caden Lee, is on there. Brian Zillum from PW Torch. I got my girl Camry. I got Krista B from Those Wrestling Girls. Alex, Queen of the Ring, is doing writing for the first time, so that's going to be really fun. And I got and Lyric Wrestling, who was kind of I was going to do it. She's literally the first person I reached out to, just because, when I am like talking to these different outlets about people, her name almost always comes up first. And she's absolutely the type of writer who I want to see not have to wait 14 years. Like I didn't know I always say that. So I kind of did this round with her in mind. Really excited for her work to get out there. So yeah, man, those are the women I have working on it, and the women who are in the book. I'm really excited. Every year that we do a project, I try to make the Photoshop a bit more exact, a bit more focused. So I redid the format from scratch this week just to really make the graphics pop. Super excited for it to come out on the 9th. Just working, man. They've been Yahoo and they've been working me like a dog, man. I'm like, I'm still adjusting to the fact that you're going to write something every week and you're going to like it. And I'm like, okay, well, this is pretty dope. But excited for a little change of pace with the Best Wrestlers book. Really, really good writing. Caden, I know Caden's in here. So I come from the school of negative reinforcement. I think Caden asked me a week ago, how I liked his piece that he wrote. Haven't hit him back. And I talk to him almost every day. Haven't hit him back about it. No, you're going to think it's terrible until I tell you how great it is. But yeah, man, it's end of the year, man. A lot of irons in the fire. But I'm excited for the book to come out for sure.
Looking forward to it. I saw when you dropped the hint that it's coming, and I knew that last time you were on the show, we kind of hinted that it's coming, and now we know when it's going to drop, December 9th. So hopefully people will get the pre-order when it's up and get it when it comes out. Because
I should probably get on that.
No, it's cool. You got a week and a half.
I'm so tired, Joel. I'm so tired. I should get on that.
Buddy, 2.5-year-old, you don't get to do this to me.
There's 7 dogs running around, man.
That's fine. Those dogs pee on the floor, and I guess so does my kid. But it's different.
But you're right. No, this is all a blessing. None of this is impossibly hard work. I think you guys hopefully are going to see me on your site here the next week or so. We got some really interesting stuff happening with local Texas independent wrestling that I'm trying to work up something on, between jobs. So yeah. End of the year is kind of my favorite time. With the book last year, I was super surprised at how well it did. And what's really going to be interesting is, with Twitter not really being Twitter like it was, and a big part of what I do, is through social media. I wonder how Blue Sky is going to respond to a project like that. I wonder how Threads is going to respond to a project like that. But the biggest thing, I always hope it sells well. But again, 6 brand new writers who haven't been in a on a major vertical or a major site. Hopefully, this gets them an opportunity, and we continue to grow this thing. So yeah,
I'll add this, and maybe this is rose-colored glasses. One thing I've noticed with Blue Sky is not only that creators who are working hard get benefits from that, but also a lot of the people who are on Blue Sky who are kind of emphasizing positivity, they are more willing to then support the work, whether that's financially or just signal boosting. So I think that there's a good opportunity with a place like Blue Sky where there's a lot more positivity in the wrestling sphere than other places. That hopefully we'll see some good gains there.
I'm just waiting on Amy and Andy Nemedy to come to my door with baseball bats like, yo, you owe us a cut.
We put you on every list. We put you on every social.
Hey, man, they working hard over there to make this thing pop, man. So salute to them, man. But yeah. That's going to be fun. I think, I'm in a position where maybe I don't, and it wasn't a need, but it was super nice to have a couple of extra dollars last holiday season, But I think the biggest thing now, knowing what we did last year, knowing what the reception was, to make the quality as high as possible. And like I said, Alex with her streams, lyric rights. Krista's been trying to figure out her writing. Camry, is just kind of getting into it. And of course, Brian, So hey, I should stop going to things and coming up with ideas and drinking Jack Daniels because the Texas Kentucky game. No. It wasn't Texas Kentucky. It was whatever the 11 a.m. game was like 3 weeks ago, right? It's an 11 a.m. game. So the tailgate is at 8 in the morning. So Cameron Hawkins out there with his cowboy hat, drinking $3 Jack Daniels. After the tailgate, Raekwon from the Wu-Tang Clan is doing an in-store. And so I go there, and then to bring it the whole way around, when we did Big E's brunch for WrestleMania, one of the guys there was my man Greg, who is one of the owners of the Kickin' It shoe store where I was hosting watch parties. And that's when I met him, and he was like, Cam, I'd love to do stuff with you, this and that. So again, I'm at the signing. Raekwon signs my only built for Cuban links. Like, it's the coolest thing in the world. I'm feeling great. So of course, I start talking shop with Greg. I look at my phone the next day. Who is, and you guys don't know the name, who is the CEO of AEW? What's his name?
Mercedes Moné.
I love you, Jeremy. I forget the gentleman's name. I'm bad with names. But Greg is like, hey, he loved the idea, so what do you want to do? And I was like, what? And I look at my phone, I was like, oh. So, we, and when I say we, I don't just mean like Cam Hawkins and his amazing friends, but there's probably going to be some type of full day media thing for All In next year. So you heard it here first. I don't know what it's going to consist of because I guess I'm supposed to come up with ideas, but apparently they're very excited about doing it. So we'll see what comes to fruition.
Good. They need to do more of that. That's one thing WWE does very well that AEW for some reason has not done, except for All In London, where not as many people are going to travel to that event. And they got to give you good talent because too many times they just give you, hey, here's Paul White. And it's like, cool. I think people like talking to Paul White. He's very good with the media, but like, he ain't on the television shows, even though he's the Rizzler's dad.
Shout out to the Rizzler. I love that little guy. I love those guys. But yeah, I think they needed somebody to say it. You know what I mean? Like, saying it online is one thing, but I think they needed somebody to say, hey, the media would love to do this. To be a part of this, to get over the personalities of the talent and really push a show. Like, we'd love to do that. So let's do it. And he's like, yep, he loves the idea. So look forward to something. I don't know exactly what it's going to be, but expect it. So yeah.
It drives me nuts because we have been saying it on and offline. I'm glad that there's potential that something's going to happen. This is a big event that's coming to Texas. So listen, I hope it happens. Yeah. And as long as, Cam Hawkins and his amazing friends are around, that's great. While we can continue to be Cam Hawkins and his mediocre media pals. That's okay too.
Wow.
Listen, this is the show you arrive on. So what are you going to say?
Yeah, I don't know.
The link stands.
I'm excited for everyone is what I am.
Fair.
But yeah, so I'm sure my coffee's getting cold. I'm sure the dogs want to come in. I'm trying to gather up, like, I'm in San Antonio, so I'm trying to gather up my friends, for a day. This is what Thanksgiving is, right? Let's get a day where we can all get together, and hopefully the kids have babysitters, and let's go hang out and drink and talk about our feelings. So I'm going to get to that. Gentlemen, I love you as always. Thank you for letting me on when I had absolutely nothing to push or advertise. You guys are always appreciated.
Offers always open.
But yeah, take care. And
thanks, Cam.
I think that the new bloodline's going to win at Survivor Series, because that makes
that's a hot take.
Yeah, that makes stuff keep going, I think. I was coming home from the gym, and I was thinking to myself, like, what a big star Roman Reigns is. Like, I just, because somebody posted a graphic of like that random Survivor Series team. Like, it was, I forget who he was with, but he was just a guy. And I did write a thing about how War Games saved Survivor Series. But anyway, Survivor Series it just encapsulated the thing where, like, they were just putting guys together, and like Dolph Ziggler should have been a way bigger star because the way he was winning Survivor Series and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, I think that it just amazes me how, Roman stepped away and came back, and he's huge over. And I was in my head fantasy booking. Don't tell anybody I've ever done that ever, but trying to figure out, like, is the end game Roman and Solo, or is it something else? But I'm just like, man, new bloodline. Because the bloodline won 2 years ago, man, I feel like they got to win just to kind of keep this thing cooking. But yeah, I'm really going to leave now. Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Cam. Take care of yourself.
You too. Happy Thanksgiving.
It's always fun when Cam shows up, even unexpectedly. Did he reach out to you this time, or no? Did you just have the link?
No, I guess. I mean,
the link is the same.
Yeah, okay. I didn't want to say that.
No, we use a recycling link. I've told enough people that when they are on the show, I tell them it's a recycled link. Like, you can, one of the smartest things that StreamYard ever did was allow for studios to have the same link, and then you just set up the stream independently each time. It makes my life a hell of a lot easier, especially when we have guests or when we have an interview that's set up. We just have that link on retainer.
Yeah, MLW, we had a lot of MLW guests, and they called on after I sent it the second time, and they were just like, is it the same one? I was like, yeah. They're like, oh, okay, you don't have to send it anymore. We got it. It's like, all right, cool, great.
And that's so easy. It's so easy when you get to work like that. Yeah, I wonder if the team that Cam was thinking about was the 2016 Survivor Series team. That was an all-star team. Like, that was AJ Bray, Dean Ambrose, Randy Orton, Shane McMahon, of course, the GOAT. And that was taking on Braun Strowman, Chris Jericho, Kevin Owens, Seth Rollins, and Roman Reigns. I wonder if that was the team that he was thinking of.
I don't know if it was that team, or I saw the picture kind of going around over the past couple of days. It was the Crown Jewel team, actually, where it was like Ricochet and Ali and Hogan and Reigns.
That was the Hogan Flair one. Yeah. That was an awful show.
Yeah, that wasn't technically Survivor Series, but because it was kind of circulating, it's been on a lot of people's minds. So I don't know if maybe Cam saw that and then thought that was just like a Survivor Series team.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that 2016 team was actually pretty bad.
Yeah, Cam's in the chat, and yeah, he said that one.
Yeah, okay, it's that one. Okay, great. Yeah, I wanted to ask, but I also know he was heading out, so I didn't want to keep taking up time. But yeah, it was good to have Cam hang out with us for a little bit. It helps to break up a lot of the conversation. We did have someone actually send us some bits over on twitch.tv/FightfulGaming. I swear is a place we still stream. It says, so many I love you, don't you disrespect AEW, and I must take over AEW to fix its stories in AEW. That's a good point.
It is like, yeah, like AEW, they keep doing we're gonna fix AEW. This is a weird one of I don't like it because kind of like Cam says, like, don't tell me that it's broken, just like fix it. But if you're going to tell me that it's broken and you're going to tell me that you need to fix it and that you love what is in front of you, then I need that to intersperse with each other. FTR, they come out there every single week and they do the I Love AEW promo. Why aren't they stepping to John Moxley? Why aren't they going to John Moxley and be like, no, AEW is fine. Without AEW, we wouldn't be here. So why are they not going up there and punching John Moxley in his face? I know who loves AEW. I've been told by plenty of these wrestlers on screen that they love AEW. So they should probably go to Jon Moxley and be like, no, AEW has been great. We're going to step up for this company. Instead, they don't. It's just, here's Hangman Page, who doesn't really seem to care about AEW. He just wants the title. Here's Jay White, just kind of wants the title, which fine. If you want the title, I understand that. That's what everybody should want. Sometimes it is just about the title. But there's also people who love AEW, who have told me they love AEW, that don't seem to love AEW enough to screw with Jon Moxley.
And that's why I brought up the point before Cam showed up of if all these people are going after the title because the title is a symbol of prestige, but meanwhile Jon Moxley is like, no, this title is trash, and I'm going to do what with it? Again, this is the conversation originally was what do Switchblade, what do Hangman, what does Christian, what do they mean to the overarching Moxley story? And then you add in the Hurt Syndicate, who wants titles for money and leverage. The title is for money and leverage, but Moxley doesn't want to use the title for money and leverage. He just wants to rebuild the company. Again, I'm hoping that there's clarification that's coming. At the same time, I don't know what to expect.
They should rename the company. What if they did that? What if Jon Moxley renamed the company?
Mox Elite Wrestling. M-E-Dub. This is a good point. Pile Driver Finisher saying they got to do, let's see what happens if we let it go down. Like, how can you actually get to a point where like they let it sink to whatever bottom is in a story like this? How dark and dingy. But I'm not saying like it's not like you're going to tank everything. That's not what this is about. It's not about like making the worst matches possible. This isn't like WWE trying to get comp tickets back. This is, how do you make it like so bad? Not bad. This is so evil. How about that? So evil that someone really does have to pull it up. That the inmates literally run, not literally, the inmates run the asylum, and you need someone like Darby, like Will Ospreay.
They should have had Moxley cancel the C2. Moxley should have come out and be like, nah, we ain't doing this tournament. You guys wanted this tournament last year. Put your money where your mouth is, King of the Dot. You wanted this tournament last year. Nope, we're not doing it. We're not doing this wrestling where everybody has fun and stuff. We're about punching people in the face. That's one thing you could do if you want to bring the company down, see how bad it can get. Actually do stuff that matters and has an effect on the show. This is what we've talked about for months. What is Jon Moxley actually doing that has an effect on the show? That isn't just wrestling storyline that anybody can basically do. He doesn't control the feed. He doesn't book anything. He doesn't threaten anybody. He just comes out there, he does a promo, and he's like, I'm going to change AEW and blah, blah, blah. And then he goes about his business elsewhere. Then he leaves. There's been stuff around him, like the murder, which has been good. That's at least okay. Yeah, honestly, more of that. I know I jokingly condone for more murder, but seriously, that's stuff that gets out of control, that it's like, oh, okay, yeah, we need to prevent this. I understand it's difficult to do that every week, but you gotta, when you start with suffocation and injuries and attacking people who are already injured, you gotta keep going from there. You can't just do, hey guys, Orange Cassidy, I don't think you're that good. I don't think you're the guy you say you are. We're gonna fight. You can't just do that. You gotta keep causing the chaos.
This is a really good point, by the way. Cyclops better than Wolverine saying FTR make a We Love AEW Raw promo every month, and they're not getting involved in the Death Rider story. This
literally
is actually
what I said.
I know, and this is why I'm saying, like, the only way you can really get to this is FTR teams up with someone and take the trios titles, because those trio titles are also along the way, they're around the waist of Death Rider members. That's like almost step one. FTR and Orange Cassidy. Orange Cassidy. They do a thing, whatever. They win the trios belts, and that's step one of starting to dismantle the Death Riders. But they should be a part of this thing too.
Yeah, a lot of people should. Again, I have no idea why Daniel Garcia just branched off and he's like, anyway, let me worry about this AEW TNT title right now. Why wouldn't he be going after the world title? Why wouldn't, Private Party, they won the tag team titles. Okay, they're just happy with the tag team titles.
Well, yeah, the
It
Young
doesn't
Bucks help them win.
Yes, but like it doesn't connect, and it could. And this is not to say like it could. Daniel Garcia could say things like, you know what, we're taking over. We're getting these titles back for AEW. The Elite tried to destroy the company. The Death Riders tried to destroy the company. No, we're taking these titles back for AEW. But they don't say that. Maybe it's implied and we're supposed to be like, oh, see, the baby faces are slowly collecting the titles. Sometimes it's okay to be like, we are doing this. WWE hammers it home too much and people get mad about that. But there's a point to that. It's okay if like you get mad at it, like fine. Maybe you don't need to be beat over the head with it. I hate to say this. A lot of wrestling fans do. A lot, not only wrestling fans. I don't want to single out wrestling fans. A lot of fans of anything need to be beat over the head with certain things so they get it. Because that is how you connect different things. That is how you get people invested to things. If it's just implied and you're like, oh, well, the fans are smart enough to get it, it's fine. No. Sometimes you got to beat people over the head with it.
Like a champagne bottle.
Like it's okay to at least mention it, by the way. Because it's one thing to beat people over the head. It's another thing to ignore it completely. There can be a middle ground. I promise you. There can be a middle ground. You can imply that the Canadian is a pedophile. You can also do a summer anthem that rings out across the country that the Canadian is a pedophile. Both ways work. Some fans will appreciate one, other fans will appreciate the other.
Psst, I see dead people.
And we're back. Me and Norma sent a super chat saying, I may need help. Yesterday I ate a smoked turkey leg that I stuffed with mac and cheese, then wrapped in bacon. Nice. I call it the gym membership. Meet Normus, hear me out. Good. This is not an intervention. This is praise. This is amazing. Thank you for giving me the idea to do this. Secondly, I don't want to do it myself. Will you ship to Canada?
That sounds amazing.
It does.
I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, Meat Normus. Hope you had a lot of meat.
Amazing. Speaking of amazing, Chris Jericho and Tomohiro Ishii.
No,
we don't need to talk about it. The match was not good. Jericho's going to be a final battle. Who knows? Yeah, I got to pay the postage, by the way, on this turkey gym membership leg. You know what? Let's talk. No, I'm just kidding. The match was what it was. Jericho's going to be a final battle. Who the hell is Chris Jericho going to face in a final battle? I don't even have a name in my brain. They're going to bring someone in for this. You just know it. Like it's just going to be some third party guy. Homicide. It's going to be Homicide and Chris Jericho for the Ring of Honor World Title.
That's fine. I like Homicide. I mean, doesn't matter. I don't know what they're setting up on ROH. Nothing, honestly. Like the match wasn't good. No one could possibly care about Tomohiro Ishii. No offense, great worker, but he does nothing on AEW television. If you only watch AEW, he loses. If you watch New Japan, he still largely loses, but at least you can talk yourself into, okay, he means a little something there. If you're just an AEW fan, you have no reason to care about Tomohiro Ishii. They worked hard. The crowd kind of got into it at one point, but then they didn't. Like Jericho going out there to just try to have good matches is honestly a disservice to his character and what he does. I wish Jericho would play more of he's kind of just like a sneaky, cheating bad guy heel. I don't need fighting spirit Chris Jericho. That's not who the learning tree Chris Jericho is and has been presented, but that is what he wants to do.
And he will have a match at Final Battle. What else is there? That's it for Dynamite. Is there anything else from Dynamite that you want to hit on?
I don't think anything else happened on Dynamite.
Survivor Series is Saturday. There will be
Dynamite was a fine show, by the way. The wrestling was good.
Yes.
You know, the C2 matches were good. I look forward to more of the C2 because at least I know I'm going to get some really good wrestling. I hope that the stories around them can keep up.
Yeah, exactly. There's nothing else I want to add to it other than this was a fun. It was fun wrestling wise. I'm curious about a few stories, and we booked out some, or at least we discussed where they could go. This was a serviceable episode of Dynamite for me. So we'll move on. Survivor Series is Saturday. We've got enough going on the show. Cam kind of said he thinks that New Bloodline is going to win that main event. I assume that's the main event for War Games. Roman Reigns, the Usos, Sami Zayn, CM Punk taking on Solo Sikoa, Jacob Fatu, Tama Tonga, and Tonga Loa, and Bronson Reed. Who gets pinned? Tonga Loa? By whom is the question? If it's the other way around, what's the deal? How does this end?
So it feels like the OG Bloodline wins. They get too much star power. They get too much going on to where it's like, because Tama or Tonga can take the loss and no one's going to think twice about that. Shouldn't have Solo lose, shouldn't have Jacob lose, probably shouldn't have Bronson Reed lose. Tama and Tonga, if one of them lose, I'd be like, okay. On the other side, tough to beat Roman, tough to beat Punk, tough to beat Jay. Jimmy's the only guy that's like, maybe.
Even Sammy, you can kind of make you can make an argument. He hasn't done much, and it could influence him further. To me, it's CM Punk gets the pin if he wins this match, and then that motivates his world title match whenever that's coming.
So I think CM Punk could actually be the one to lose for the OG Bloodline.
Okay, I'm listening.
Because he's there obviously for Paul Heyman. He doesn't care that much about the Bloodline. He doesn't care what's going on with them. Why should he? He's not there for them. He's made it very clear he's there because Heyman wanted him there. If he gets pinned, then it can be the OG Bloodline can be like, see, why'd you bring this guy in? He's not family. He's not connected to us. He cost us. That can be a basis of a potential down the line Roman and Punk feud as well. So that I don't know if it's gonna happen, but I think CM Punk is beatable in this match to further advance some other stories, especially if you want to put over Jacob or Solo. I know people are kind of the bloom is off with Solo, but like it's there still. You're still gonna do a Roman and Solo singles match at some point.
I would argue that Solo has become more better. Better is an awful way to put it, but you know what I'm trying to say. I think his stock has risen over the last little while because of the way that he's been presenting himself and the way he's been presented. He is still top of the food chain, but he's no longer like super serious all the time. Like there are moments with Solo, the character is there. And I think that's got him a lot of praise, rightfully so, amongst fans. It's no longer like he's challenging Cody Rhodes because he thinks he's the guy. He has become a guy. And I think that's again, in service of the story and the amount of time he's been given. Again, go back. I say this so often in the Bloodline story. Roman Reigns, after 39, saying this whole thing is in service of my family. I will be there to raise up other members of my family. Solo's next one up. They did it with Jay, arguably did it with Jimmy. Now they're doing it. Jacob Fatu is he's on his own. He's fine on the way regardless. Solo's the next one that they're really continuing that build for. So there is even a possibility. He pinned Roman, so there is that. He's got a victory over Roman Reigns. It's again, it's a little more open than originally thought as to who can win this War Games match.
Yeah, it still feels like the OG Bloodline's going to win, but there are openings for the Bloodline to win where it makes some sense.
Yeah. I'm curious. I really am. I kind of went in being like, oh God, Roman and his team is going to win. But what if you can facilitate a little more story like Cam was saying? And I do agree. You and I sat here, Jeremy, going into Bad Blood, being like Roman and Cody could lose and it would stimulate so much more story coming out of the new Bloodline. They didn't go that way. And they gave the win to the new Bloodline at Crown Jewel instead in the 6-man tag, which like not a lot of people see compared to the other pay-per-views that were PLEs that we're talking about. So that's why I'm just like, man, just give it to the original, give it to the new Bloodline. Let them have that moment. And then we can move on with whatever's going on with Roman and Solo and getting into Survivors or getting into to end of the year and Royal Rumble season. It's going to be a fun show. LA Knight, Shinsuke Nakamura for the US Championship. there's a chance that Shinsuke walks out with the title here, I think.
I think so too, just because you can only beat Shinsuke so much and then do a comeback gimmick like so often. At some point, wins got to matter because all he did was lose to Cody. And then I feel like he's been off really television since then, right? Did he return for anything?
Nope, he's been off until just this started.
Yeah, but the Cody thing, everyone's like, oh, they're reheating him. And then like he just lost at every turn to Cody. At some point, he's got to win. It feels like they either do some type of screwy finish or Shinsuke actually wins, which I would not be opposed to.
If you do a screwy finish, you can then have the title change on another episode, either on SmackDown or they do it again at Saturday night's main event. But that show's starting to get a little bit stacked itself. I don't know how long Saturday night's main event, the special, is supposed to be. They're really making it sound like it's going to be every bit of 2 hours, but nothing's official yet in terms of timing. But this, if Shinsuke wins, I don't think this is the last you'll hear of LA Knight in the US Championship contendership, but maybe they'll just turn around and do it again the following week. Let him have the automatic rematch that he's not supposed to have because we got rid of that in 2018. But this could be it. Shinsuke winning. It's not a knock on LA Knight. It's just he hasn't been booked strongly against he hasn't been booked against strong opponents. As a result, it maybe is just time to shake it up, do something different. Shinsuke with the US title. Maybe there's some legs to that. Give it a shot. Intercontinental Championship, Braun Breaker, Sheamus, and Ludwig Kaiser. Multiple mindsets here. Breaker retaining, or we can have a new champion. What do you think?
Feels like Braun Breaker retains. Who's going to win the title? Sheamus?
They've been waiting to do the Sheamus thing for so long to give him his final Grand Slam, won all the titles moment. I don't know if this is it. Braun Breaker, however, every time he's in a new situation, he loses, and then he learns and he wins it back. I think this is his first triple threat. It's definitely his first triple threat title defense. And in those situations, he tends to lose and then learn. And basically, he's like a cyborg. He learns and he's AI. He just wins everything back because he learns from the mistake and he does better. That's why I'm like, we could have a new title holder. We can have a new champion, and Braun wouldn't look bad in defeat as long as he's not getting pinned. And then he just turns around and wins the title back, at the Royal Rumble or at Saturday Night, wherever. But at the same time, it's Breaker. He could retain and just move it from there.
Yeah, I don't think Sheamus's moment comes in a triple threat. Feels like it's going to come in a one-on-one match. So Breaker probably wins.
It's going to be a hell of a match, though. You put Sheamus in a triple threat these days, and you know it's going to be good. Yeah. Gunther, Damian Priest for the World Heavyweight Championship. This has been a very interestingly told story. Not great, in my opinion, but if this is Gunther, if this all turns into Gunther retaining in very emphatic fashion and beats the shit out of Damian Priest and reestablishes himself as confident champion, I'm okay with that. Takes away from Damian Priest a little bit, but then Gunther is like, it's an FAFO. It's a FAFO for Damian Priest. And Gunther figured it out. What are your thoughts on this match?
Feels like Gunther wins. I don't love how he's been, portrayed recently, but it is what it is with that. I still think that he wins and should be looking a little bit stronger going into next year.
I agree. Gunther should be strong finishing out the year. I do appreciate at least that they're trying to show that Gunther is not infallible. He should not look completely unbeatable. They may have went a little too hard this time around, in my opinion.
Yeah. And that's kind of where I'm at, is that he's looking too much. Like he was so strong as an Intercontinental champion that they've almost like course corrected too much of like, oh, we can't have him look that strong, but they've gone too far in the other direction where they've made him look weak at almost every turn. And that hasn't been great.
Has he had like a beatdown moment, a stand tall moment over Damian Priest this whole run? This build, I should say.
No, he's always gotten his ass beat.
All right. Well, I'm glad we figured that out. Feels like Gunther wins. I hope that it's a very an emphatic victory. Let him look good. Let him look good in victory and feel good about himself afterwards. If this is all in service of getting him to Goldberg or John Cena, one of those guys, then he can shit his pants over it. But for now, he should get the win and just move on. Women's War Games: Rhea Ripley, Bianca Belair, Naomi, Io Sky, and now it's Bayley. We'll talk about that in a second. They're taking on Liv Morgan, Raquel Rodriguez, Nia Jax, Tiffany Stratton, and Candice LeRae. I loved, by the way, the conversation you started yesterday on the spotlights. If Tiffany Stratton cashes in,
oh yeah,
does the entire match become a women's world championship or a WWE women's championship match? And I love that SB3 was like trying to fight it, but even he couldn't understand that logically it does become a multi-woman title match.
yeah.
So there's a really interesting story there that like Tiffany does it, and then let's say Rhea pins Liv. Tiffany screwed up. She screwed herself. I like the idea, but unfortunately, like then the Nia Jax stuff is kind of moot, and like Tiffany just looks dumb. It works one way, but it doesn't work like in totality. But yeah, Women's War Games. Jade Cargill's out. They replaced her with Bayley on Raw officially. I think they're solidified tonight on SmackDown. Spoilers. She'll join the team. And,
no, Bayley solidified. They've already announced.
Oh yeah, they did. You're right. Right after Monday night. Yeah, you're right. So, all right. So Bayley's in and Jade is out. I know that there has been. Just to put this out there, I know that there has been like multiple reporting about what is or isn't going on with Jade. Sean says he will have an update on it soon. We're not going to comment on it. It's the only thing I will say about this the injury and the reporting of injuries is that I do find this very interesting that we're in a moment where we've had two major stars injured and the injuries are very quiet. And I'm talking about AJ Styles is the other one where it's like, we think they're injured. We've been told they're injured, but also we don't know for sure. It's a very interesting time as reporters or as people reporting on wrestling that, maybe we're getting worked a little bit, and that's okay too. But yeah, Sean will have an update when we get down to Jade Cargill. I want to remind people as well that when the reporting came out, that when Sean reported initially on the injury, he never said that she is definitively injured. He said that this is something that has been reported and that we are working to solidify that, to confirm that. So I know some people got into their feelings about that, but that is the reporting. It was never solidified that she was injured. It was, we were told, and we are working to confirm it. So with that in mind, Women's War Games, all the changes, let's talk about it.
Should be a good match. There's some good veterans in there who can help lead things. Obviously, Candice and Io are going to do their things, which would be great because they rule. I still think Tiffany should cash it in the middle of this thing and see what happens.
It would be so funny. It would be funny, and it would be so like interesting to watch. All the women just stare at each other, being like, "What now? Like what in kayfabe?" They're like, "Whoa, what now?" And then it becomes a free for all. Let them all go after each other for a title. Nia Jax and Liv Morgan should be absolutely incensed that Tiffany like invoked such chaos. But I don't think they're going to do it. I think it'll just be, Rhea gets the pin, maybe pins Raquel, and that goes on to Rhea and Liv again. We got to just put the title back on Liv back on Rhea, and we move on. Or Liv beats Rhea, and Rhea has to find a new dance partner, because this story is very much in service of 1.5 stories in War Games.
They've got options here. I would have the heel team win, especially if the babyface team is going to win later in the night. And I'd have the champions look a little strong as well. Like, I think there can be, because there's still the dissension with Bayley stuff. I know Bayley helped Bianca, but there's still dissension there. There's Bayley and Io. They ain't really friends, just earlier this year, look what happened with them. Not that the heel team is like super aligned, considering we just had a Liv Morgan versus Nia Jax match last month, but at least you can have heels come together a little bit easier than you can have baby faces come together. And the heels are more aligned in their goal of beating up the baby faces. So I'd probably have the heel team win here. I'd have Nia get a victory, or I'd have not you, Liv get a victory and look strong. Put your champions over.
Bianca Belair got the win overnight. Jax on Monday night for Advantage. The
babyface having the advantage is always a tricky one.
Yeah, not only that, Bianca Belair pinned the women's champion. Does she now get to go and say, I want a world title shot? Is this something that we do? Or do we just kind of leave it as Bianca got advantage? That's all this was.
I think it's just Bianca got an advantage for now. Like, she's still one half of the women's tag team champions. We'll have to see what comes of that with Jade's injury and how long she actually is out. She's also in the US title tournament. Or she lost.
She lost.
Yeah, she lost. She was part of it. Okay,
yeah.
sorry.
And Jade does get replaced. Spoiler alert.
They announced Lash Legend already. That's not spoiler.
Oh, did they? Okay, good. Then there you go. Lash Legends will be replacing her.
Yeah. So, yeah, Bianca, she is out on that. But they do have to figure out what they're going to do with the women's tag team titles before Bianca can kind of claim title shot there, I feel like.
They might just say, keep them on her.
Might.
There's a better story that, like, Bailey kind of, gussies her way up to Bianca, and like she stupidly trusts Bailey enough to be like, okay, you and I are gonna, defend these together. They get one win, and then it all falls apart the next time. There's something you can do there.
Yeah.
I don't know or honestly, like, Bianca should just be like, Naomi's my girl, because they are a trio. Like, why wouldn't you take the other person? Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, I think that makes the most sense if Jade is out long term, is hey, because that's what Piper or Chelsea got to do when Sonya got injured. Chelsea just kept the titles, and then Piper Niven was just like, I'm your partner now. And everyone was like, okay, sure. Why not? So I think that makes sense. If Bianca is like, hey, Naomi and I should be defending these titles. And I guess it would be Nick Aldis's call. Nick Aldis be like, yeah, okay, sure. That makes sense.
And then Adam Pearce should come in and be like, no. It's both our decisions. And then they just argue for hours, and then they want to drink.
Then Ava comes in. Ava is like, no, I'm part of this too. The women's tag team titles are part of NXT as well.
That's right.
And Ava's all about sticking up for the women. And so she is like, I rule that they can do this. And then she gets the final say.
And then the Speed general manager shows up.
I don't know who that is.
There is no Speed general manager.
Okay.
Will Chisholm said to Super Chat, saying when Bianca and Rhea face off on Raw, Naomi's face was like, hope no one knows I got Jade jumped. It's Naomi turning. That would be very funny. And it would be unexpected. I don't know if that's
it would be, but I don't know. Naomi's getting such good reactions as a babyface right now that, like, I thought they should put the women's the US title on her at the very least. I wouldn't do a turn there because I don't know what you. Obviously, there's plenty to do with her as a heel, but right now the heels have the titles, so they need to lose them to baby faces. Who beats Nia? Like, that's where I'm looking. Is like, who are they gonna do? The Tiffany Stratton? That's the turn, and she beats Nia.
It really feels that way after some sort of big moment. Nia gets a big win over somebody, or it's a very tough fought battle, and that's when Tiffany comes in and just picks the bones. But that's also that's a heel tactic to come in and pick the bones. That's what's really tough about doing Money in the Bank, especially trying to use Money in the Bank as a catalyst for creating a babyface, because it's not a babyface briefcase. It just doesn't work unless you call your shot, which is like Big E did that, John Cena did that. Like you have to call your shot to do Money in the Bank as a babyface. And Tiffany doesn't make sense for that unless you build her to such a point where it's like she's inevitable and she calls it and she wins, and you've got the crowd in a frenzy for that moment. But I think the surprise is bigger. Sean's been saying for the longest time, do it at Netflix, do it on the first episode on Netflix, and make that a moment, because no one's ever done it. I still, as silly as it sounds, the idea of cashing it in War Games during the match, it works. What if you do it in the middle of the match? Like before all 5 women are in there, she goes in and it's her and both women's champions are on. So you can't really do it as easily. That's the problem. You can't.
No, why couldn't you though? What if Tiffany starts the match?
It's not why couldn't you? It's just how does it make sense? She's not at odds with anyone on her team right now, other than maybe Nia, but that hasn't been so bad. So it's not like she can there unless it becomes the 2-on-1. That's the earliest she can do it, right? The babyface comes in, then Tiffany comes in, then another babyface comes in, and then one of the heel champions comes in, and then she cashes it in.
No, Tiffany should start the match against Io. Let's say she starts against Io. It's a one-on-one match. Tiffany's got her down. Tiffany, she beats her up. She uses weapons because they can use weapons, even though usually it's not till the very end. But who cares? Let's break some rules here. Let's break some traditions.
Why not?
She beats her down and then she cashes in. She says, I'm cashing in for the women's championship, the women's world championship. That's Liv's title. So I'm cashing in for the women's world championship. And she pins Io. And now she is the women's world champion. But the War Games match continues.
But so hold on. So the women's champion, whoever one picks, is not going to be in the match. She's going to pin someone from the other side just to win the title and then piss off her teammates.
Yeah. What does Tiffany care about her teammates? She's the new women's world champion.
I get it. My whole feeling is like you get the entire team. Like you get the 10, you get the 10 women in the ring. The match begins, the match beyond starts, and then she cashes it in, and it's pure pandemonium. That's where I'm.
Well, yeah, that's what I pitched yesterday. I think that works too. There are a number of ways you can do this. This is unprecedented. You don't have any rules on how you want to do this. You can explain this any way you want, and you can make it make sense. Because what are people going to say? Like, oh, that doesn't make any sense. Why? Why doesn't it make sense? This has never been done. It does make sense. Whatever they do can make sense.
Corey Graves just like, I don't know how this works, Cole. Please explain it. And Cole's like, I got nothing. Bruno Calsen sends a super chat saying, does Tiffany need to choose which title she's cashing in, or is it for both in War Games? It should be for both.
Yeah, this is what we were talking about yesterday. It's like, if she cashes in, it should just be both. And whoever gets the pin is now just a double champion, which I think would be great as well. But there are so many ways they could potentially do this.
Honestly, at the end of the match, it's probably just going to be Nia gets pinned by Rhea Ripley and Tiffany could cash it in. They tease a cash in. It's probably what it's going to be.
Possibly. But I don't know, because if the baby faces stand tall, there's not going to really be a great opportunity for like, hey, anyway, go ahead and do your cash in. Like,
they just have to get out of the ring and stand tall at the top of the ramp. It doesn't matter what happens for the rest of the ring.
But then AJ Lee's music hits as the baby faces are celebrating. Let's light it up. Is that AJ Lee's music?
Yeah, right? Yeah. If they're the main event, then you know some shit's going down. If the women main event Survivor Series, that is like, it's going to happen. We're going to be sitting here being like, it's on.
They do the long shot. The babyface are celebrating the cage. Michael Cole's been like, thank you, everybody, for joining us for the Thanksgiving tradition WWE Survivor Series. But then you hear, let's light it up. Da, 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 da. I don't know how the music goes.
I think it would just be the intro is good enough. You don't need the
you got to have the static sound, though, because it's just the callback. Yeah.
No, it's wrestling. So you need to do like a sword sheathing or something like that, because that's all wrestling. I know what you're going for.
Yeah.
It's like it's Io Sky's music, and then all of a sudden you just hear so stupid.
And you're gonna have that person in the front row, Vancouver. That dude rules. Shout out to him. Shout out to the Chicago guy.
Oh god, wrestling was fun. The SmackDown tonight is a tape show, but there's a bunch of stuff that looks fun. Sure. Women's US title tournament. Piper Niven, Michin, and Lash Legend. She's going to be replacing Jade Cargill in this match. This looks like a fun match. Do you have any predictions? I don't know if you've read the spoilers. I know you usually stay away from them.
No, I don't read the spoilers because I like to be a little surprised unless I have to work. And so at some point I will probably have to read the spoilers. I don't know who wins. My guess is Michin. That's who I think is going to win this match.
All right. And Cody Rhodes versus Carmelo Hayes. That's a match we've seen before, but it was made again. So looking forward to this one. Hopefully it's better than the first time. Hopefully they both don't try to go for the Cody color at the same time.
A big spot for Carmelo. He needs to have a good performance. Like the matches against Andrade were obviously really good. And the triple threat with LA Knight and Andrade was good, but he needs a good performance against Cody, because the first one fell a little flat.
This is hilarious. No sound effect. You need a deep distorted voice saying AJ Lee.
Let's light it up.
So, let's light it up.
I just need to light it up. Let's light it up.
I swear to God, it's when we start doing shit like that, I'm like, now welcome to the stage. It's just sounds off.
It needs like the Lil Wayne lighter flicker. Just let's light it up.
So awful. Men's War Game Advantage match. Jey Uso, Jacob Fatu. Listen, if you think Jey Uso's winning this match, I have a bridge to sell you.
Yeah, they already did. They already did the baby faces get the advantage in the women's match. There's no way they're doing double baby face here, and there's also no way they're beating Jacob Fatu.
No, you know what? I'm sure this match will be fun. I'm sure Jacob's gonna beat the shit out of Jey Uso.
It's gonna be good, man. I'm looking forward to Jacob Fatu. Like, this is his first singles match, right? He hasn't had one.
I want to say it is. I think you're right about that. I'm gonna double check while you're talking about it. But yeah, this is a big opportunity for Fatu. This is good stuff.
It's gonna be good. Jacob Fatu rules. Jey Uso, very good.
Jacob Fatu, who chose Mads Kruger to be his last MLW opponent.
Yeah, that article just ran.
I know. That's why I said it.
Yeah.
That's why I said it. One-on-one matches, singles. He has not on TV. He's had one dark match against Cody Rhodes. Does not count. And finally, Roman Reigns and CM Punk are going to speak.
It's going to roll. I'm really looking forward to this.
We're going to have a sit down at the Max. Everything is a Saved by the Bell reference for some reason this week.
Do you think they just like don't speak? Not the No Doubt song.
That's a great song.
It is.
I don't know. Is it going to be that, or is it going to be? I don't know. Is Paul Heyman going to do all the speaking?
Yeah, like Heyman's going to have to be there, right? I would imagine he's there.
No, he actually left after the first tapings and just went home. Just couldn't explain it.
I think Heyman's definitely going to be there, and then they got a lot to talk. There's a lot of history there. You mentioned on Wednesday of like, do you reference the put Roman over strong, thing? I think there's a possibility that they reference it, just of like a wink and a nod, not an overarching theme of it. Yeah,
it's a passing reference.
Yeah, but it might even be the closing reference of, they're talking about war games and strategy, and Punk's like, I know, make sure you look strong. And that might be all it is.
Just the crowd going, ooh.
Yeah, I mean, the piped in crowd. I don't know.
I was going to say the 2K crowd.
Because I don't know if they showed this. I don't know if they showed this to spoilers. So I have no idea.
Backstage stuff, they've been really, again, they do it the TNA way, where matches are in front of the crowd, or like they'll do a couple promos, but otherwise backstage stuff is not shown.
Yeah, so the crowd won't react unless they're forced. The button is pushed to react. I mean, look, Punk's pretty compelling television, and Roman is compelling television. So them having their first big talking segment together, it's gonna be pretty compelling television. I think it's gonna be good.
Gonna be fun stuff. SmackDown tonight, go watch that. If you want to watch Survivor Series on Saturday, do that too. Jeremy and I are back on Monday, allegedly.
Yeah,
main channel Monday.
Oh shit! Is it
beginning of
December already?
Jeez. It's already, yeah. It's going to be December to Dismember.
Is it December 1st on Monday?
December 2nd on the Monday.
Oh shit! Okay, I don't know how many days are in November. All right, fine.
30 days has September. 30 days has September, April, June, and November.
Yeah.
All the rest have 31 except for February. That's a freak month.
Yeah, February's dumb.
It is. I mean, it's dumb. It is. Anything to plug before we get out of here?
I don't think so.
Go watch wrestling or don't. I don't care. Go enjoy your weekend or don't. I'd rather you do in that case. For Jeremy Lambert, I am at Joel Pearl.
Joel.
I know. We're getting there.
Mana, the final boss. And here we go. This is how good. The final. God damn, that's good shit.
God damn.
And here we go.
Yeah. You think he shows up on Saturday?
God damn, that's good shit. I don't know if he shows up on Saturday or not.
We'll find out. We'll have an extra shot on the air. Ladies and gentlemen, friends beyond the binary. We'll see you in the next one. Cheers.